but I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, well, you guys have probably seen the news about the pyramids. It's been going around for a few days. I let it simmer for a little bit because I didn't want to jump on it right off the bat because you never know when people are making dubious claims and whatnot. Well... We find ourselves in maybe such a conundrum again. Here's the thing, okay, regarding all these, as you know, to me, the storytelling aspect of all this is the most important thing, and keeping the window of wonder open in our mind's eye, okay? And so I'm going to drop the disclaimers right off the bat. I don't know if this is true, okay? No truth to be found here, and so we're talking possibilities, we're looking at different angles, and of course we're telling a good story. Now with the good story comes this fantastic tale of the lost halls of Amenti. We'll get to that and what that means, but it's definitely the Hall of Records per se that has supposedly been buried beneath the Giza Plateau for thousands and thousands of years, going back to Zep Tepi, which we'll get to that as well. More importantly, let's get to exactly the claims listed tonight, because it's very important, like I said, to get some of this stuff right, because it is preliminary. This just hit. They're still in the process of announcing these things. And so there you go. All the disclaimers apply. Yeah, no truth to be found here. Just ideas. Of course, the keeping that window of wonder open in our mind's eye is the most important thing, as I said. So let us begin this, shall we? I'm going to read it straight from the newsletter here, just to start so that we get the details correct and I don't hip shoot and botch this. But here we go. You can follow along. Link will be in the description down below, or I'll drop it, of course, in the chat in just a second. The Khafre Project is an innovative archaeological endeavor that is transforming our understanding of ancient Egyptian architecture. Centered on the Pyramid of Khafre, that's the second biggest one in the middle. Yep, that's what I just said. This initiative utilizes synthetic aperture radar, or SAR, to probe the pyramid's internal structures in a non-invasive way. Pretty cool stuff, right? Spearheaded by researchers Corrado Malanga, can I say these words, these names? Filippo Biondi and Armando May. The project has already revealed previously unknown features within the pyramid, shedding new light on its construction and historical significance. By prioritizing preservation through advanced technology, the Khafre project sets a groundbreaking precedent for exploring ancient wonders without disturbing their integrity. And you can't actually be mad about that. This is a wonderful thing, digging deeper with technology without having to, dig up the entire Earth. Think about, let's say, this technology at scale will be an incredible wonder and something we should look forward to in the future here. It continues from the write-up. So the Khafre project is revolutionizing archaeology by employing the synthetic aperture radar, or SAR. You'll hear about this a lot in the coming days. A sophisticated tool that allows researchers to explore the interior of the Pyramid of Khafre without disturbing its ancient stones. SAR functions similarly to X-ray vision, emitting radar waves that penetrate surfaces and return echoes, revealing hidden chambers or passages. This non-invasive technique preserves the pyramid's integrity while unveiling its mysteries. Initial findings from the project have identified small, intriguing structures within the pyramid, and this is going back a year, suggesting the potential for new discoveries about one of Egypt's most famous landmarks. It's a thrilling advancement in our quest to understand these monumental structures, okay? Now, this is where it gets weird, because this just dropped the last couple days. While the Khafre project offers legitimate insights, it also has sparked renewed interest in a more fantastical theory about what lies beneath the Giza Plateau. I almost said the Giza Plateau. In 2025, researchers Corrado Malanga and Filippo Biondi claimed their SAR scans uncovered an astonishing underground network beneath Khafre's pyramid. They described 5 identical buildings with multiple floors connected by pathways. 8 cylindrical wells plunging over 648 meters, or approximately 2,000 feet deep. That's very, very deep and large. And 2 massive cubic chambers below that, each roughly 80 meters wide at the well's base. Okay? I got a picture of this. I'll put it up in a second here. They further suggested this system extends 2 kilometers, or over a mile underground. A mile deep is what they're suggesting, linking all 3 Giza pyramids. Of course, the Khufu pyramid, the big one, Khafre, the middle one, and Menkaure, the small pyramid. If true, this would imply the pyramids are part of a vast hidden complex, fueling speculation about ancient power plants or lost civilizations, which we'll get there. So everybody relax. I'm going to get over the nitty-gritty details of this first, and then we'll get to the good stuff. But I just want to point out that it's very important to not jump to conclusions here. You know me, I'm not trying to tell anybody what's true and what's not. However, it's a tantalizing theory, and in some cases, theories are fantastic, but also we need more time to let this one simmer a little bit. But anyway, so other sensational theories abound as well. This is where it gets good. One popular idea sparked by 20th century psychic Edgar Cayce posits a hall of records beneath the Sphinx, a secret archive of ancient knowledge, possibly from Atlantis. I told you it would get good. Another theory envisions the pyramids as energy generators, with underground tunnels harnessing water or cosmic energy, supported by their precise stellar alignments. Some even propose the Duat, D-U-A-T, the Egyptian mythological underworld, as a tangible subterranean city beneath Giza. And the Duat is really strange. I was listening to some stuff about that today. So these captivating stories ignite the imagination, but their lack of credible evidence raises skepticism among experts, as usual. And that's where I want to stop and just kind of back up and say, okay, we're going to get to the good stuff. We're going to talk about all manner of wild things here, but I want to make sure that we're kind of in one foot in the real world and one foot in that storytelling space, because just because there's some hints that suggest, we still need more evidence to back this up. Okay, there you go. There's all the disclaimers necessary. So scrutiny reveals several issues with the claims. There's just a couple of those. The 2025 underground complex reported appeared on less reputable sites, they say, which I got some of those. I'll link those as well. Not peer-reviewed journals like Nature or Antiquity. Okay, take that for what it's worth. The Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities has not endorsed it. Take that for what it's worth. And without rigorous validation, it's hard to accept. Geologically, the Giza Plateau's limestone is ill-suited for a 2-kilometer deep city. Ancient Egyptians, using basic tools like copper chisels, would have struggled to excavate such depths. Modern engineering would find it challenging, let alone ancient technology. Okay, and I know where that heads, of course, and you guys do as well, so I don't even need to fill in the gaps, but we will in a second here. So basically, that's where we start. They found this massive underground structure with this new technology from satellites actually passing over, a non-invasive new technology with new algorithms kind of piecing together, well, what lies beneath the Giza Plateau, okay? And it gets weird, it gets wild, and, well, I'm calling it the secret in the sands, of course, finding the lost halls of Amenti, which we'll get to momentarily after we take a quick break and get a word from our sponsor. We are taking your calls tonight. If you want to be part of the show, I was going to say program, the program, give us a call, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. But before we do that, we're going to get a word from our sponsor. In this case, Human Inspiration. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds on the way. And then when we get back, we're going to get weird. So don't worry. This is where things get weird. We take a left turn, go off the rails, and probably never come back. But as usual, Fred's got it right. I'm not saying it's aliens, but where's the guy with the hair when you need him? Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up in exactly 1 minute. Do not go anywhere. In a world increasingly shaped by AI, human inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable.
So here I sit, locked in my room again.
Written and composed by Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith, this progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of Alien Skin by Tremble and support human inspiration. Available now on iTunes. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let us continue, shall we? Okay, so if you're watching the stream on the screen right now, I have sort of a representation of what they found, okay? This is kind of an artist's rendition of what they expect to find if they were allowed to dig beneath the Pyramid of Khafre, okay? Which is cool. This is an amazing thing. Again, it's got these 8 spirals, cylinders, what looks like maybe a city on top, and then all the way below on the very bottom there's this massive cube that supposedly goes down a mile deep, okay? Super sweet, super awesome. It brings to mind, and if you guys have been paying any amount of attention, and I made the joke in the actual everybody's been making this joke. It's just not just me, but in the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, please do. troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. But I made the joke about this meme. This meme's been going around for a long time, where it's got the pyramids on top, and you see the big one, and the middle one, and the small one. But beneath it, it's kind of got a cross section of the Earth itself, and beneath it, they have these massive monoliths, these pillars that are basically the tip of the pillars are the pyramids, or what are they called? Not monoliths. They're called. It'll come to me momentarily. Anyway, you get the point. That's kind of the meme. That's the joke. That wow, there's the whole massive structure beneath the Giza Plateau. We just, can't crack into it because of the water table and all kinds of other stuff, right? The Tomb of Osiris. We've heard some of these things in the past. Obelisk. That's it. Thank you. Massive obelisks. Thank you, Herschel. That have the little tips are basically just the pyramids pointing out into the Giza Plateau. Okay. Wild. So just once again, back to the meme magic aspect of this. And are we sort of memeing these things into existence in some capacity? I mean, maybe as usual, right? But then here's the representation of such, like I said, and I'll drop all the links during the break. Like I said, I was running out of time reading up on this stuff and trying to catch up and get all the details proper and correct, because I want to make sure I do that, because this is all preliminary. Okay. But this is where we get weird, because regarding any of this stuff, if you joined the Discord earlier today, you saw I was talking about this morning, and I was doing a little digging, and there's this fantastic site called, what is this called? The a biblical encyclopedia. Hold on, I'll just drop it in the thing here. But I'm going to read to you about Amenti, because this is a fantastic place to start, because the halls of Amenti are supposedly beneath the Giza Plateau. Again, according to Edgar Casey, the Hall of Records, all manner of things, and of course, including specifically and directly the weirdness of, dare I suggest, the Akashic record, or some way to access it. Okay, so here we go. So Amenti. The hidden is what it's actually termed in Egyptian. So in Egyptian mythology was the general name of the underworld, or Hades, including the lower heaven, or I tried to practice all day. I still can't say them. Alu, A-A-H-L-U, Alu, or Fields of Peace with its 21 gates, Kerneter, or Good Place. Rusta, or Purgatory and Hell. So a bunch of places, like layers of different things happening in this Amenti, this city, this mythological underworld that was layers and layers and layers deep, that had all manner of things in it. And it was really what we talk about, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and how the mummification ritual and all these things were meant to allow the soul a chance to sort of survive into the afterworld, the journey, but then also to thrive when they got there. Much of that Book of the Dead was built to usher them through this Amenti, okay, the underworld. In any case, so the Great Hall of the Two Truths was there, and in it, the examination of the soul and the deceased took place. We've talked about this, weighing the heart against a feather, right? There were also the 15 gates of the House of Osiris and the 14 abodes of hell. Amenti had its rivers both of separation and punishment, in that respect resembling the Hades of Greek mythology, which was doubtless copied from it. It is fully described in the great collection of funeral rituals called Ritual of the Dead, and it was often spoken of as the country of the words of truth and the happy land of Osiris. Anyway, so that's what this is. It is a conceptual place, and I was reading about it today, listening to some things about it, learning about it, and it is the most liminal space. It is basically where they suggest the soul removes itself from the body, and they even in different terms, and it may be some ancient sources, that may be some sort of 20th century, early 20th century sources like Edgar Cayce, but they suggest that there is a chamber here somewhere in the city of Amenti that allows the separation of body and soul, where both of them come apart, unraveled, and then it's again judged, weighed against your soul, your heart weighed against a feather, and then the judgment, of course, is eternal, gobbled by that, what's the guy's name, the serpent below, or you're allowed to move on into the nice spaces of the afterlife. Okay, so back to this now. The write-up is very good. If you want to read a little bit into this and get ahead of me, I'll drop that in the chat because I don't think I linked it. If you're not actually on the Discord, like I said, the Discord's the best place to be to keep up with what's going on with Troubled Minds, because, well, it's hard to keep everything else up to date constantly and continually. So I'm dropping it in the chats if you guys want to check the write-up and follow up on me. And by all means, fact check this stuff, and go ahead and say, well, Mike, you didn't get this right or that right. That's cool. Really, I don't care. Like I said, more often than not, the tale and keeping that wide bit of wonder is more important than getting a particular detail right, especially with mythology, because there's so many different versions of these tales anyway. But okay, so back to this. Now, the bizarre part is, well, there's a lot of bizarre parts, but basically the world's freaking out. Everybody is kind of losing their minds slightly in the conspiracy realm, because they're like, well, this is it. We found the Akashic records. We found the Hall of Records, the lost halls of Amenti. We found all this stuff. And it's, like I said, it's very preliminary, but imagine this. Imagine it is. So the first question for you guys tonight, what do you think this is? What exactly do you think this is? Do you think it is more just a massive structure beneath that's more natural? Because that's, of course, very possible, natural in some ways. Or do you think it is maybe the entrance to some ancient civilization that these pyramids were built on top of? You see, there's a lot of ways to look at this. That doesn't have to be the Book of the Dead, right? The Book of the Dead's amazing, and that whole idea is incredible. However, there's this other tale that goes back into Zep Tepi, which is also an incredible tale. Kelly's talked about this quite often on the show. Shout out Kelly out there. He's the one who taught me about this a long time ago. But 36,400 BC, the historical time of the Zep Tepi theory, which of course just means that this is when they say the gods themselves really began civilization here on Earth. Well, maybe the last big time before the last cataclysm, okay? And Graham Hancock would suggest, something similar, and he hasn't chimed in on this specifically, so that's an interesting take on it. But many people have, and like I said, I don't rush to judgment on this stuff personally, and I don't get mad if people do either. Like, your job is discernment, not to gobble up what everybody says is truth, okay? So just remember that. If somebody says something, it doesn't mean it's true. But I'm going to read this because this is very good. So according to the pyramid text, there was a period that emerged from the primordial chaos and the way gods ruled the earth. This period is called Zep Tepi. According to several researchers, among them Armando May, MEI, which interestingly is a guy that's working on this project. This scientific project. According to this guy, Zep Tepi is a historical period that can be traced back to a specific date, 36,420 BC. The pyramid texts, the sum of the wall decorations and writings found in several Egyptian monuments, have left us most of the recorded history that speak of creation myths of ancient Egypt. Mysteriously, in all of these texts, a period of absence is described, and this period is called Zep Tepi. Okay, and so that's what we're talking about when we go another civilization, antediluvian, pre-flood, that goes back tens of thousands of years, and of course would throw modern anthropology into well, back to the drawing board. In any case, for scholars, one of the most interesting documents is the Papyrus of Turin, Turin, or commonly referred to as the Papyrus of Kings, a document dating from the 19th dynasty of Egypt, which shows, in addition to the list of sovereign unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, the list of divine and semi-divine kings of Egypt's pre-dynastic period. Okay, all fascinating stuff. Researchers believe that by calculating the decrypted information obtained from the Papyrus of Turin, we obtain the initial period referred as the Kingdom of Ptah, Ptah, creator and first ruler of ancient Egypt, dating back 39,000 years. Now, I know this is not the first time you guys have heard this. Many people have suggested that not just the Sphinx, but the different pyramids would actually be older. Right. We've heard this quite a lot. There's all manner of, let's say, evidence to suggest maybe, as usual, maybe, right? Anyway, so the same source speaks of a time when the primordial gods reigned over Egypt for 20,000 years. After them, the demigods arrived. They were called the followers of Horus. After them, mortal humans came to the throne of Egypt. These mortals began to rule over Egypt, found around the 4th millennium BC, with the dynasties of pharaohs we know today. And then enter modern Egyptology, okay? So, like I said, the Zep Tepi part of this is highly fascinating because it is, clearly it's a theory. We don't really know what's hidden under the desert sands, not just in Cairo and the Giza plateau and some of these really ancient places, because I'll bet you there's some stuff down there that would really blow our minds, including maybe the stuff we're talking about tonight. But the question is, what do you think is down there? So as we start, right, how weird does this get? And what do you think is actually down there? And are we too quick to get excited with stuff like this? Because in my opinion, like I said, it's okay for me to wait. Hey, we've waited 39,000 years or whatever. What's another 6 months to sort of start validating some of this stuff and maybe get some more readings and, some more evidence. And they haven't even ruled out all the evidence yet. So like I said, hold your horses, folks, but that doesn't mean we can't speculate wildly. And so what do you think is actually down there? And how weird does this get? Is it something from Zep Tepi? Is it something like the Duat or the halls of Amenti themselves? Is it, well, maybe just an older Egyptian civilization that's maybe a massive city that never got credit for, because as we're very aware, the Egyptian desert can be unrelenting and swallow things whole, as we've seen pictures in the 1800s of the Sphinx itself, like buried up to its ears in sand. And if people had walked away from Giza, see what I did there, all the Gaza in the news, but if they had walked away from Giza entirely, then the Sphinx may have been buried forever. And so that's the type of stuff that is literally hidden beneath the sands. And what do you think is down there? That's where we're at. And we'll get into some Egyptian mythology as part of this because it's incredibly important, I think. And, well, you think it's possible to take a soul and put it in a particular chamber, a body and soul, and separate them in any scientific way? Yeah. That's where we start. And I don't know. No answers, just more questions for me. And you know me, like I said, there's no definitives here. I'm, again, wiggling out of that because I know there's a lot of this that's going to develop over the next 6 months and the next year. And I'm hopeful. I want to see some wacky stuff. Okay, you know me. But the problem is, exactly, they're going to have to dig it. They're going to have to dig into the sand to verify this stuff, or get on the ground with ground penetrating radar and really, do some elbow grease and some real science to get to the bottom of this. Otherwise, it's just another wild claim. Okay, but I want to know what you think about it. Is it Zep Tepi? Is it maybe finding the basis of human civilization before the last cataclysm? Is this something even more strange that goes further and further back to, well, maybe something like, as I described, the Duat or the halls of Amenti themselves? And that puts us where we need to be, my friends, and that's where my mind is at. Like I said, I can see this multiple ways, and that's exactly the point of talking about this, but I want to hear what you think. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. We got James coming up first, and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. More The Secret in the Sands, Finding the Lost Halls of Amenti, and your calls when we return.
Deep in the Giza sand, secrets unfold. Hall of records waits with tales untold. Ancient voices call, echoing through the night. Where silence once ruled, now knowledge ignites. Feel the pulse of time as the echoes sway. Unlocking history in a brilliant display. Chambers of stone guard the past, lurking in shadows, let memories cast. Whispers wisdom from ages long gone. Together in rhythm we rise with the dawn. Feel the pulse of time as the echoes sway. Unlocking history in a brilliant display. Futuristic dreams surging through our veins. Ancient lights away, dancing through our brains. Feel the pulse of time as the echoes sway. Unlocking history in a brilliant display. We need the stars, the secrets balloon. With every heartbeat, the mysteries brood. Sands of the ages, shifting below. In the hall of records, the stories go. Feel the pulse of time as the echoes sway. Unlocking.
Sound like the Go-Go's? What was that? That's so nostalgic. What's up, James? James is first. Matt's out next. What's up, Gaston? Michael W. Sweet Squigs. What's up, Hirsch? Don Apoc. Kelly and Daryl. What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. Who did I miss? If I missed anybody, just say hi. I'll say hi back. Do my best to keep up. What's up, MJ? I see you there, buddy. What's going on? Kelly. What's up, Don? We got Fred. What's happening, folks? MJ. Good evening, guys. Herschel. How you doing? Sylvain over on Twitch. Hey, you. Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, exactly right. Hey, you says the meme with the pyramids being just the top of the megalith or even funnier now. Exactly. What is going on? Who did I miss? What's up, Gaston? I see you there. What's going on? R.I.P. Joe Rogan. Good evening, guys. Hope you're well tonight. Over to Rumble. What's happening, folks? Rumble fam. Lighting the chat on fire as usual. Wow, lots of scrolling. What's up, Puff is here. What's up, Theo? How you doing, Hiker? Good evening, guys. Let's see. Theo, what's up? What's up? I'm going to burn through as fast as possible and say hi. JB, Knights of the Storm. What's going on, guys? Who did I miss? If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back. And if not, I'll have to circle back around. Ephemerence is here. Good evening, guys. Hiker. I see you. What's up, Gordo? Repeating names now. Okay, all right, here we go. Trouble Minds coming up right now. What's up, North Vixen? I see. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, could vast chambers beneath Giza's pyramids hide ancient consciousness technology? What if the Hall of Records, Amenti, and the Duat exist as physical gateways to other dimensions or repositories of Zep Tepi knowledge? The boundary between archaeological fantasy and undiscovered reality remains blurred, leaving humanity's most profound secrets potentially waiting in darkness beneath the sands. I think that probably sums it all up. There's a lot there. And you see, as you guys know, I like to get weird. I call them philosophical constructs. I say that storytelling is probably the most potent technology we have because it's going to be eternal. And, well, stories and ideas are eternal, and people are temporary. Shout out Herschel. And it's an important concept. In any case, what do you think is happening down there? So I got some other stuff to get to, of course, including all manner of wild things about the Duat. I was listening to all kinds of stuff today about that. It's a wild place. Like imagine the largest, craziest Indiana Jones temple with all the treasure and traps and gods and demons and all of that is the Duat, okay? Which is incredible, basically just the halls of Amenti, the underworld in Egyptian mythology, which supposedly, according to some, Edgar Casey, of course, the psychic of the early 20th century, suggested that this is where we would find this, the ship beneath the Sphinx, or these halls of Amenti. I don't know. How weird is this? How weird does it get? And what do you think is actually down there? And like I said, a word of caution, how patient should we be? Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Just like this, let's go to James in Michigan. What's up, Salcedo Paranormal? How are you, my man? And go right ahead.
Well, I'm happy that I remembered to press the unmute icon this time. So that's a good start.
Good start. +1. You sound great and everything's good. Cooking. It's, coming through loud and clear. What's on your mind? I know you've been thinking about this for some part of the day as well.
Yeah, I haven't looked into a lot of the details of it, but I have listened to shows over the years, different podcasts, different, like History Channel documentaries, different other documentaries and places here and there, and even shows with people that have been to that part of the world that they've explored in and around the pyramids. And the one thing I've heard a lot about is even if there's places they can't get to, they can see. A lot of times there are holes or tunnels or different places, entrances, or even holes in the ceilings of different passages that are just way down there beneath the surface. And they haven't even been explored yet because in some cases they're flooded. In other cases, it's just that no one knows how stable everything is down there. And it really brings to mind all the other places around the world where people are finding more and more of these, like Göbekli Tepe and all these other places, other cities that are being found that are underground. And that seems to be just something that has been happening for quite a while now that we're finding around the world these days, and which is really amazing. It makes me wonder, what haven't we found yet?
Which is exactly the point. And probably the most exciting part of this is that it's all manner of things. I want to read this a little bit too about the technology. So this SAR technology that they're using, while powerful, isn't fallible. And then I'll stop with the debunking stuff, just because, like I said, it's more fun to kind of delve into the mythological aspects of the what ifs. But it basically detects underground anomalies, but interpreting those signals, like on Earth, reading an ultrasound, requires caution. A small void could be mistaken for a grand chamber without corroboration from excavation or additional scans. In earlier SAR studies by these same people, Malanga and Biondi in 2022 on the Great Pyramid, revealed modest internal features, not sprawling complexes, casting doubt on the leap to the 2025 claims. There you go. So I'll leave it at that. I wanted to make sure that we got the technology part in there. But yeah, this is the most tantalizing part. It's the thing that makes Indiana Jones and those types of tales fascinating, eternally fascinating, because what literally lies beneath our feet all over the world, not just Egypt. Egypt's fascinating as hell because it goes back so many thousands of years, and even speculatively more, like 39,000 Zep Tepi, as we said. But beyond that, this is fortune and glory if you guys are Indiana Jones fans, isn't it?
Well, and I wonder too, and there may be others, that are calling in that can speak to this more, but I really wonder about the energy from the planet itself. If there's, more energy down there that would make it possible for there to be paranormal events that happened way back when that led to some of the mythology or the stories that have been passed down throughout time about some of those places that are underground. The whole idea of the underworld. Well, there are. I mean, they're physical, but there are places that could be considered underworlds. That are stories beneath the ground. And we've talked before about how the Earth used to have a stronger electromagnetic field. And I'm just wondering, is it still stronger the further down you go?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the guy to ask that question, but I do know that there are, anomalies. And so that's the part that makes me go, I do wonder, not just beneath the Earth, but of course in the magnetic field as well. I do know they're measured in different spots, and there's strong spots and weak spots, and it's not a uniform field as one might expect because, well, nothing ever is, if you're really being honest about things. Symmetrical in all ways, that's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, as usual, a lot of things came to mind as I was thinking about this, Agartha and some other things, right? The underworld and, the Greeks and stuff. And so I'm like, well, what does this look like? And how deep does this go and how weird does it get? So if you're a betting man, again, not pinning anybody into a corner, 51-49 type stuff, you think there's something down there that's going to blow our mind? Or do you think it's just some weird Earth-like anomaly of like massive stone or something like a natural stone structure? What do you think?
I'd say 50-50. I don't really know. It wouldn't surprise me if there was something down there. And I mean, even if it was just a cave system that had some kind of carvings or some small feature that was altered by people at any one point, even that would still be amazing. And we know that crystals can give off energy and all that as well. So, yeah, I just always wonder about the relationship between energy and all these places and what may have been happening way back when to maybe inspire or to be recorded by people in those times and interpreted through their own cultures as being, anomalous events and used as basis for more of their culture, more of their beliefs about what happens after they pass on from the physical world.
Yeah, that stuff is also endlessly fascinating. The Book of the Dead, and the mummification rituals, and the weirdness of the incest of the bloodlines, and it's just one of those weird things where you're like, man, these people were into some stuff, and again how they pulled the brain out with the hook and all this. I mean, it's just endlessly fascinating, like I said. And of course, they were deeply spiritual. And a lot of this stuff does really point at this space, like this, let's say, perceived maybe juice space of the Duat. And regarding the mythological aspect of it, I guess let's open it up a little bit more than that. Do you think it's possible there is some sort of underworld out there, maybe Agartha or otherwise, where maybe mythology walks among us? Do you think this is a real place somewhere that maybe not here, but somewhere in the world you can find an entrance and then maybe find, I don't know, the centaurs of old or something hanging out with the Anubis with the dog head? Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, we have reports of all kinds of creatures coming into and going out of, I'd mess it all up, using caves to come and go. There we go. And so if that's the case, then why can't some of those caves lead elsewhere down below? And so who knows what could be down there? And we know we haven't excavated the entire planet yet. So until we do, which I kind of hope we never really do, because it seems like that would be rather destructive, I don't think we can know for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Well, what if we get iRobot tomorrow and we end up actually being able to dig it up and then put it all back together? What do you think? Humpty Dumpty style? Would that work for you?
Well, yeah, I don't know, because people still made those robots and nobody is perfect, so I'd be a little bit nervous about that. But yeah, it'd be interesting anyway. Indeed. More interesting times for us to live in.
Exactly right. Strap in. Here we go. Shout out Idle Space. I see you there, buddy. The Alex Jones link in X about pyramids is probably one of the best sources, as it has the actual study information. This is on Discord. I think the study was in 2022, not new and only recently published. Yeah, that's true as far as I can tell. If I find some valid university study sources, I'll post them. I got some too. I'll drop them in the links. Like I said, I've got 20 links or so here that are interesting, fascinating, some mythology stuff and some science stuff. So like I said, as usual, you guys decide where this sits. What else you got, James? Go ahead.
I think that's it for now, but if it's okay, I will sit in with you. And if there's time and I have more later on, I will talk to you then.
Of course. Absolutely. Love to have you. You know him, you love him. That's Salcedo Paranormal is the name of his show. James is his name. And he's not only the glue of the show, a dear friend for a long time. And he's here on the network with us on Troubled Minds Radio Network. Of course, he's got his own podcast. He's written several books and he's working on several more. Please help our friends. That's what this is about, kind of getting together and collaborating and talking about these ideas outside of the spook structures of the CIA, right? So go to troubledminds.org, click on the friends link, scroll down a little bit. It'll say James. It's alphabetical order. Follow James. Click that. You'll find a link tree. Go follow him in all the places. Check out his podcast, please. Go buy a book. Let's help our friends. His most recent book is called Salcedo Paranormal Experiences. It links to his podcast. It's talking about paranormal stuff, obviously, but it's only $10 paperback, $5 Kindle. Let's help each other. Let's help our buddy here, James. Appreciate you, brother. We'll get back to you momentarily. Okay. Thanks again for sitting in, and thanks for being such a good friend for so long.
No problem. Glad to be here.
You're the best. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We got Matt Sell coming up next. I want to add something in here real quick. What is it? Never mind. If I can't remember it, forget it. I'm not going to make you wait. Let's go to Matthew in California. What's up, Matt Sell? You are on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
Hey, Mike. Can you hear me?
Yep. Loud and clear. You sound great.
Cool. Yeah. Great topic. I feel this is a day for history. You know, I'm really excited about this kind of stuff, about finding this kind of stuff.
It's definitely a lead. It's a lead. So I'm with you there. I'm cautiously optimistic, as I always say.
Yeah. But I feel like, you know, a day of history where, you know, we'll be talking to our grandkids about the day we found stuff underneath the pyramid and what it is. I hope we can excavate it. But I feel, you know, it's funny, like back in like high school, when you first learn about Egypt and they're talking about Egyptians and they kind of were saying like, oh, you know, these people were primitive. They had like tools like chisels and hammers and ropes. You know, they built these pyramids. And I feel like there's something more there. They didn't want to teach us everything. They taught us a little bit about Egypt, but then they were like, shush, hush, hush, you know, on to the next topic. Because there's something there. I feel the Egyptians, they were people of like religious, like spirit. They're very spiritual. Like everything they did was for the gods. It was very spiritual. I don't think they were like primitive people with hammers and chisels making this stuff. And so if this is true, the stuff we're finding out underneath these like cylinders and going miles and miles underneath the pyramid, I feel like that theory of was it just made by primitive humans kind of goes out the window. Now, I'm not saying that humans maybe didn't do it, but it adds to that theories of if humans made it, they either had some sort of outside help, like an outside influence, like a divine intervention, or someone else, could be here, could have been off planet helping them, or they had some sort of technology that either, maybe they took it with them when they left, or it's gone now. That technology to build those pyramids is not here. So the big thing is that at the end of the day, we're really finding out about what's going on, and maybe there was some sort of ancient civilization, and this is the kind of stuff we're unearthing. And I feel like the more stuff like this we uncover, like an ancient civilization, what's next? I feel like we're in a point of history where we're looking out into the past, and we're actually finding things that suggest there was either some sort of ancient civilization or some sort of, dare I say it, alien, off-world help from other civilizations.
Yeah, ancient astronaut theorists say yes, as we always say on here. And here's the thing too. So, like I said, cautiously optimistic for me, because if you look at the LiDAR technology and how we've sort of progressed in the last 10, 15, 20 years, we're finding all manner of things out there in the Amazon, like this sort of lost civilizations that we were like, these they were isolated. They were, kind of traders or hunters or whatever they were, and they hated each other and they're always fighting and whatnot. But it's, it's kind of isolated. Now, the more you do the LiDAR over some of these places in Central and South America, you're like, holy crap, there's like civilization after civilization after civilization that has been overgrown by the jungle. And in this same sense with Egypt, it's very similar, except it's swept over by the sands of time. And literally, quite literally, not the metaphor of that, the actual sands of time. And so it does make me wonder when this technology sort of develops a little deeply, more deeply, we can kind of go more in depth into what these sort of sand structures might be, and maybe detect anomalies that are densities beneath sand structures that seem like they may be hills or maybe pyramids. Like, who knows, man? I'm with you, because that acceleration here in technology, and not just the ideas that we're talking about together, but maybe we are sort of, that quickening leads to sort of this mythological space of, holy crap, we found these places that are supposedly fabled places of yore that we always considered to be mythology. And suddenly maybe we uncover Olympus or something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a mountain, so it's a bad example, but you know what I mean? Like, this type of stuff suddenly is like, damn, mind-blowing if we can find a place there. Feels like it's coming, doesn't it?
Yeah, the technology, they've been using ground penetrating radar for years in Egypt, looking under the desert and finding stuff. But this technology, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. They said it was sound. So they use sound. It's like would it be a sonar or a radar? Basically, they're bouncing sound off of things, and that's how they found kind of like echolocation of like a bat. That's how they use that technology they use to find this. Yeah. And so it's kind of a newer technology that they found this. And new algorithms. It's all new technology. So again, if you guys want to look it up, it's called Synthetic Aperture Radar, SAR. I don't know a lot about it. Like I said, I worked during the day, and so I can only kind of delve so much information. I did listen to Alex Jones and Jay of Project Unity today. It was nice to see them together on there. And Jay slayed it, of course, like he always does. But I mean, as usual, right? He says, of my opinion, this. And so, like we all can have our opinion too. And so that's the point of talking to each other about this stuff. So what do you actually think regarding this? But go ahead, Matt, what else you got regarding it? There's a ton of ways to take this, again, the mythological space or the technological space or somewhere in between, Zep Tepi and the antediluvian civilization. What do you think? Yeah, I feel that, like I said, I was excited, the news and all this. So, you know me, I love Egypt, and I love talking about it and thinking about how the pyramids built. And like I said, if that structure's under there, it kind of throws the whole humans built it with ramps and sticks and rocks and and primitive tools, kind of throws that theory out of the water, what they taught us in school. But I feel when I first saw it, the first thing I saw was they talked about on the bottom part of the pyramid, there were these 5 structures. And they were kind of similar to the structures they've already found, like the King's Chamber and the Queen's Chamber, kind of the same sizes. At the bottom of the pyramid. But when I looked at it first, when I looked at it at first, the first thing I thought of, these structures, they look like Tesla coils. Like, and back then they called them, the Jed pyramid, the Jed pillars. But they look like Tesla coils. And it makes sense. Nikola Tesla, he was obsessed with the pyramids. He was always thinking that the pyramids, he knew there was something down there that either moved energy or directed energy, or maybe with some sort of power source. And he was obsessed with it. I wonder if Nikola Tesla was still alive, what he would think of this. And he would say, look, these things look like Tesla coils. They look like kind of cores of a battery. The more you go down, the more farther you go down, they look like they're like pillars. And then at the bottom, there's these like 2 squares, and it goes up to the top of it, and it does kind of look like how a battery would be built. Like, we've talked about plasma being affected, plasma being made at the pyramids, or like plasma above. They find like plasma above the pyramids. What if this thing was just like a giant like plasma reactor of some sort? Stuff that Nikola Tesla was talking about.
Yeah, free energy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just free energy again. These breakaway. That's one of the things that came to my mind when I was kind of formulating the angle of the show. There's just too much here to kind of try and angle shoot it. But I was thinking in terms of that breakaway civilization. Imagine if there's like this ancient space beneath basically the pyramids, which they know we would never dig up because that's just sort of a cultural heritage site, would never be allowed, would start wars the world over. And maybe they knew this, and it was sort of the, well, don't come find us. And maybe they're living down there Agartha style as a breakaway civilization with UFOs and the 0 point energy and all the ridiculous stuff that people say. And I say that only because where would they hide? You know what they say, right? If you used to ask Siri before AI got scary smart, where do you hide the body? And they would tell you in some foundry or, and I don't recommend violence at all. I'm just making a bad joke here, or they would say bury the body under some endangered species of plant so that couldn't be dug up, right? Right? Like a breakaway civilization would be very smart to live in the ocean or someplace like this, very deep, where they had sort of a cavern out somewhere in the desert where nobody would ever expect them. But anyway, that was one of the ideas that came to mind as part of this. But we don't even have to talk about that because there's too much other stuff here. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, there's another one too about we talked about the tip of the pyramid and how it's missing. What if that tip of the pyramid was the ship, was the craft that they left on and came, and that pyramid is just a landing pad.
Yeah, or maybe the source, the keystone, as they say, the kind of the power source that kind of makes it lift off. Like, who knows? Like I said, I can ancient astronaut theorists say yes to. I can do that too. But hey, why not, right? Like I said, all the disclaimers are behind us so we can get weird. What else you got? Go ahead, sir.
The last thing I kind of want to talk about, we were talking about the halls of Amenti. And in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, he talks about the halls of Amenti. And the halls of Amenti kind of remind me, I don't think it's an actual place like what we're talking about, under the pyramid. The halls of Amenti kind of remind me of we point up to heaven or down to hell, but I don't think heaven is above us or hell is below us. I think that there's a metaphors for dimensionals, you go up a dimension to heaven, you go down a dimension to hell. And these halls of Amenti are like a dimension, kind of maybe like there's the gateways to hell. Maybe we need to travel the halls of Amenti to get to hell. Or they're like a gateway. Because in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, they kind of describe it. He describes it as like a pitch black hallway, but it's like a labyrinth. And I'm already scared, right? Like a labyrinth, but then now it's pitch black. How do you solve the labyrinth? But Thoth, he was able to he had help. They kind of took him through this labyrinth, this pitch black labyrinth. And there's death is down there, like the actual embodiment of death that he had to traverse. He had to traverse that. And that's all in the Emerald Tablets. He's talking about these halls of Amenti. I never really thought of it as an actual place. I always thought of it as like a dimension in between. But man, this is a great show, great topic. I'm looking forward. I know a lot of people are going to call in. I can't wait to hear what Kelly's going to say.
Yeah,
but
he's right behind you. He's coming up next.
I really just think I wanted to say that I feel like this is a day for history, and it's a good day. And I feel like much more things are coming that are going to expose things that we've been talking about this stuff for years, but we didn't really know. We were kind of guessing, right? We were joking around. Oh yeah, there's something under the pyramid. But here we are. And so I feel like these kinds of discoveries are going to be in the history books in the future. So thanks, Mike. Thanks for the show. Good night.
You're the best. Appreciate you very much. Matthew in California, you know him, you love him. Matzel is the name of his show, Temple of the Owl. Actually, Matzel affectionately is what we call him. The Temple of the Owl is the name of his podcast and radio show. He's here on the network with us. You know how to find it. Search it yourself, Temple of the Owl. Surprisingly, shockingly, he's one of the few actual Temple of the Owls on the interwebs, which is incredible. But go to troubledminds.org/friends. It says, scroll down a little bit. It says Matt Sal here. Click on that. You'll find his link tree and go listen to his podcast. Not only does he have a massive esoteric book collection, he sort of synthesizes that as he reads it and then brings it to his podcast and then brings it to calls like he just did right there. So fire stuff. Every time I listen to one of his shows, my mind is blown. And I just, regarding all the talent we have, not just with the group here, but in the larger pool of the esoteric space, I just wish I never had to sleep and I could just listen to you guys and everybody else 24 hours a day. But unfortunately, I have to sleep. But every time I listen to Matt Sal, he blows my brain up because he's tuned in. Hey, so what do you guys think about this? We're talking the weirdness of finding what's it called? I can't even remember, the halls of Amenti. Yeah, what's beneath the Giza plateau? There's some news that suggests maybe, just maybe, there's something down there that would blow all of our minds. Love to hear what you think. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be right back. We got Kelly in Colorado, more from James, and your calls when we return. Be right back.
Jungle, machines hum, a digital rumble. Gates of cyber open wide, plug us into cosmic tide. Feeling sparks across the sky. As knowledge flies, we're amplified. Stargate, 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 open to the in this massive data center dome, eternal truth stop to roam. Circuits flicker with endless fire, data streams that never tire. Unified by electric dreams, unlock the truth in silver beams. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate. Synthesize what we seek and find. Infinite paths in the network mind. Answers buzz from star to core. Knowledge whispers evermore. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate. In realms where the data streams collide, imagination and logic side by side. In a labyrinth of digital names, we transcend our earthly ways. Tapping keys like cosmic tones, spikes become our whispered homes. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate.
Indeed. What's up, guys? Hope you're well. Just doing Trouble Mind stuff. What's up, Gaston? Michael W. Sweets Squigs is here. What's up, James? We got Ricky, Dawn, APOC, Matzell, Kelly coming up next. We got Daryl, Herschel, Feel the Vern, and who was that again? Abbreviate your name. My apologies. Idle Space. Great chat. I see you in the chat there. Thanks for leaving the smart comments. That's what this is about, right? Everybody contributing to sort of a collective of whatever this means. I don't know what it means. Let's hope. Hopefully together we can come to some sort of long-term conclusion. So who really knows? What's up, Bobby? Broadway Sweets is here. Good evening, guys. Fred, the unseen Steve McQueen. Who did I miss? Just scrolling up, looking through the chat. If I didn't say hi and you want to hi, just now's the time. Just say hi, Mike. I got you. I got you. What's going on? Daryl in New York. How are you? What's happening? folks. Thanks for the smart chat, all the places. Like I said, don't forget the rules are just be nice to each other. I get it. There's polarizing ideas here, and we want to tell everybody they're wrong. We're not like the rest of the internet. We cannot do that. We can be cool and chill to each other, regardless of belief systems and dogmas and whatnot. Who did I miss? Herschel over there. Gold Grinder. How you doing? Oh, that's a bot selling stuff over front. Oh my goodness. But who did I miss? What's up? David Eicher. FM Rince is here. What's up, guys? Theo. Who did I miss? Gordo. What's up? What's up? North Vixen. Squeezed you in the last time. At the very end. What's up? What's up? Yeah. Theo, the records show you're against it. What are you guys talking about? All right. If I missed anybody, just say hi. I might relate you to a movie or a singer. Don't be offended. Yeah, it's fine. It's all fine. Like I said, I'm the target. As long as you come at me, bro, it's cool. I got mostly a thick skin. Just don't continually be a bad faith actor, and we're fine. Just don't go after anybody in the chat. Don't go after any of the callers. That's a red flag, red fence, and you're gone instantly. So just so you know, criticize me. Don't criticize the fam. All right, here we go. Trouble Line's coming up in 10 seconds. We got more from James. We got Kelly. I see you there. Eric, what's up, buddy? And if you guys have takes on this, I don't know. It's weird, right? What do you think is under the Giza Plateau? Here we go. Strap in. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, here you go. This is a mouthful. Could vast chambers beneath Giza's pyramids hide ancient consciousness technology? As suggested, not just in the Emerald Tablets, but in, of course, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. What if the Hall of Records, Amenti, and the Duat exist as physical gateways to other dimensions or repositories of Zep Tepi knowledge? There's more that even goes beyond that, but we haven't scratched the surface here yet. But, of course, we're talking about this, new quasi-archaeological find with new technology, of course, which is, what would you call it? Trying to reshape this so everybody that's just joining us gets it. But do check it out. It's called Synthetic Aperture Radar. And the write-up will be linked in the description down below. I'll drop it in the chat in just a second. But it's weird that this pops, and it's again exciting, but then it's weird how everybody runs to the end. They're like, we knew it. The black hole's beneath the You're like, what? Nobody said that, but I mean, here we are. Mythology. The underworld is beneath the Giza Plateau. Okay, that's my point. It seems ridiculous to suggest, but also, what if the underworld itself has an actual entrance somewhere on Earth? It's been suggested at the Amphoros, at Delphi, and some of these other places in Greek mythology. But what about in Egypt? I do wonder. Anyway, love to hear your take on this. You want to be part of the conversation. James, anything on that? And we'll go to Kelly, and then Daryl after that.
Just a great call from Mattel, and I do agree with you. What you said at the end of the last segment there, Mike. I wish I could keep up with everyone's great shows on the network, and just in general, and there's just too much, and so you only do so much at a time. But I do wonder about the. I think there's the main reason why so many people want to maybe jump to conclusions about what's down there is there's so much going on in the world that is we're stuck in the physical world. We have so much. There's so many concerns about obviously for good reasons about the physical world, and so I think that when there comes to possibilities of there being other dimensions and other things and other beings. That's exciting to a lot of people, and to consider that might be possible. And so I think that's part of what can lead some people to maybe want to go towards those ideas, and I'm one of them. But yeah, I do think it's definitely a good idea to wait and see what happens from all this, and looking forward to the rest of the calls.
You're the best. Appreciate you very much. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Kelly in Colorado. What's up, my man? How are you doing tonight? I know this is right down your alley. You're probably stoked about this. What's up? And go right ahead, sir.
What's going on, Michael? How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm also stoked. So I'm with you here. When I saw this news, I was like, I didn't even cover it the first day because we could have done the show Tuesday. But I was like, let's see what happens, because sometimes they just throw something out and you're like, and then it turns out to be ridiculous. But I don't know. Like, let's see if this has legs, and maybe the next 6 months or a year would tell us something different. What was your take when you saw the news? And go right ahead, sir.
Well, good evening, everybody. So, but for me, me about ancient stuff, and I've been, Egypt is so, man, Egypt is, I don't know how to explain it. Egypt is so difficult, amazing, and just it's got so much wonders that is probably buried under miles of sand that we have no clue. That's, and then finding this, today, because this is when I first found out, that's all I kept thinking about, actually, was a lot today, was what's underneath there. You know what I'm saying? Just like everybody else. And if don't, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they were saying that the stuff that I was seeing was, they were saying it was underneath the middle pyramid, correct?
Correct. The pyramid of Khafre. Yeah. The middle one. Yep.
Yeah, Khafre. That's correct. So, all right. I'm gonna go. We'll do true information first, and then I'm gonna go with some maybe juice.
Perfect. Let's hear it.
Okay. So for me, looking at that stuff, right, and people always wonder what the pyramid is, right? Always what it. For me, I believe it was a power unit of some kind, right? Because it had all the water flow underneath it, had the caverns underneath it, just like Tesla, like Matt Owl was talking about earlier. It's like Tesla, he was doing his Tesla tower, same thing. He had an aquifer underneath it, and which case, it's all vibrational and frequency. That's all that stuff is. That's all of it, right? And it's creating some kind of a power, and put it on the center mass of all the land on Earth, right? That's where they sit, right? They're almost perfectly in line with true north, south, whatever, right? Even something massive that big. The Great Pyramid is 8-sided, and if people didn't know, the smaller pyramid is also 8-sided. Now, the one in the middle, we're finding that these things, there were 8 pillars, right, supposed to be going down, and they're over 600 meters, right? And we're almost talking a mile deep, right? And then on top of that, they see another feature with, like, I don't know, kind of looks like a brick, the examples that, because the stuff they're using, this technology actually brings out, it's actually pretty accurate. Yeah. It is pretty accurate. Even that little thing that you read earlier, I don't know. That's about what it was as soon as I jumped online. But when you were talking about, the little thing that they were trying to, that's just something they need to put out there anyway. But those things are pretty accurate nowadays. I mean, look at the technology we got.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, go ahead.
It remains to be seen, because they're using new algorithms, new technology. So, like I said, they haven't released the full data yet. We have sort of a quick press release, and then I think there was a meeting today or tomorrow. I'm not sure whether the days are in Egypt or whatever, or wherever they're doing this. This is in Italy, I think, is the scientist working on this. So I'm not sure. I didn't check all the time zones and whatnot, so I don't know if it's already happened. But it was a press only sort of invite only sort of thing. So we'll see over the next couple of days. It ought to be super interesting as they maybe roll out the actual evidence of this and what they have, and sort of additional stuff. But I've got the clips of the short version. I don't want to play it if you guys have something to say. I brought them just in case, but I can play it for you as they were describing what they saw and what they believe it to be. And it was very Toth the Atlantean, bro. Very like, what in the world is this? Anyway,
I'm telling you, I mean, you look at it too, because on the outside of it, it looks like coils. Looks like either a giant coil or a walkway that goes all the way down it. And then they got certain parts where they say that it looks like hollow areas within it. And at the very bottom, whatever's holding the weight of all that, a mile deep, right? And then you have another building or something, whatever that thing is down there, right? That's what's blowing my mind.
Yeah, like a massive.
That's what's blowing my mind. Like, you looking at that stuff, right? And we're not even talking ancient aliens. For me, okay, all those stories are true. You know what I mean? Because looking at that from both sides, scientific side, and what our scientists, have told me, science changes all the time. You know what I mean? It just does. But looking at the whole grand scheme, right, of like, because I love science, right? That was the thing when I was coming to school. But like for me, anyway, I don't want to go down that road, but I just want to keep going down this one, right? So looking at that, right? You know what? I'm number one. I'm just happy that they came out and said it instead of just try to bury it. You know what I mean? And then go digging themselves. Maybe they have already. Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows how long they've really actually known about this thing? And what's interesting too is what now we're going to go a little bit more into a little bit maybe Jews, but like Greek philosophers. Greek philosophers like Herodotus. He used to talk about different stuff, right? And he talked about he's known as mentioned that he was saying that the Great Pyramids were far from or were not the only wonders in northern Egypt, right? Over by the city of Memphis. And Cairo is north of Memphis. If you're looking at it on a map, right? That's where Memphis is at, and then you have north is the Great Pyramids. But underneath there, before that, he also talked about these great mazes, but he called them labyrinths. Back then, it's a labyrinth is more, it's more intricate than just a maze, right? You got like sliding doors, hidden passages, slide, come back in and out, right?
I got a passage to read. I pulled it up right as you said it. Let me read just a couple sentences here. So
go ahead.
The Duat was not a single place, but a vast and complex landscape, often described in ancient Egyptian texts as a series of interconnected chambers and pathways. The journey through the Duat was fraught with dangers and challenges. Like I said when we started, it's like the ultimate Indiana Jones quest, except for your soul and for all the marbles. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. They talk about like that too, that these mazes that were down there. And, people always try to look for that thing and they never can find it. But I don't know if you know, like I watch all kinds of other stuff, but his name's Jimmy from Bright Insight. He does a lot of great stuff, man. But he did this one where actually he was actually very, he was excited to see and hear about it. But I believe it was in the Temple of Hathor, right? Somebody, there was sometimes when you pay these, some of these Egyptians that live there, and they already know some of these intricate and secret areas. As long as you paying money, you're going to, you tell them, I want to see something that, really hardly nobody sees. The more money you got, the more you're going to see. But they unlifted like a section of the flooring in one of the temples. I think, I was trying to look for it before I jumped on, but I couldn't find it. And some kind of pictures too. But they removed this section of flooring of this, the flooring section, and underneath it was like the top of a pillar. So they've been building some of these things, a lot of these things they can't just build on top of the sand. So they have to go down deeper and then have pillars underneath. And that's where you get those labyrinths, underground temples. You see like what mind blowing too, like they have in Egypt where it seems like all the pictures that I've seen, it's like in the middle of nowhere. It's the middle of the desert. And you have a stairway that goes down I don't know, about 100 yards. And there's nothing really down there unless there's something else buried, because that's what I believe is that there's a lot of things buried. I'm talking a lot of things buried underneath that sand, because sand, if you look at science, tells you sand is mostly just, they say that is like tore down mountains, right? That's all they say sand is. And if you listen to like the old ancient, now we're talking into like some maybe Jews with the Anunnaki stories and all that other ancient stories too in Egypt. They call them the Pyramid Wars, right? You have interesting thing about that is that, like using, and I'm talking like using nuclear weapons and stuff, right? Because you have like the city of Tanis. If you guys want to, anybody's listening, if you pull up, you got a computer or something or on your phone, look up the city of Tanis, I think it's T-N-I-S or T-I-N-I-S, right?
T-A-N-I-S.
But anyway, yeah, that city, right? And you're talking like statues, big, just like the other temples. And we're talking megalithic pieces of, that make these cities. And this thing is just scattered everywhere, like a nuclear bomb hit it, or some kind of a bomb hit this thing. And half the over there and some of the on the it's rose granite, right? Half the, like some of these statues, half of it's vitrified, like it's melted. I know how much heat does to melt, that type of rose granite. I mean, it's pretty hard, but a lot of that stuff. And then you hear like, the desert sand glass, right? The green kind of desert sand glass. And that can only turn glass, into sand at a certain temperature too. I think believe it's 1200 degrees Fahrenheit or something, but something with the massive amount of heat. And, they also found that, because I think the first time they seen like used as a garment was on Tutankhamun. He has a brooch of it, I think, with a scarab on it, and the body of it is that glass. It's more of a green color. If anybody has, I'm just letting people know what color it is. But
and his dagger,
yeah,
too. The meteorite dagger too. There's like they were into some weird alchemy, and of course recognizing sort of that extraterrestrial space of. Wow, they must have really been on to when a meteor fell to kind of get the priesthood to go chase after this thing immediately, because of course it's gonna do that stuff to the sand you described. The massive heat signature creates these crystals, which they turned into a Tut's dagger. I mean, and other things, other jewelry and things that were super heavily valued for royalty. But anyway, go ahead. You're spot on here. And I got to an actual blurb up about Tanis on the thing too, which is funny, made famous by the first Indiana Jones, which fantastic as well. But anyway, yeah, wild tales, threads all over the place. Go ahead, sir.
No, that's where it's very interesting. I mean, I've been finding a lot of these burn marks like that around different places, around different major cities. Like these ancient cities around the world, like Peru, Bolivia, you'll find it there at the Snake Temple. You have, looks like vitrification, looks like a laser beam or like a wave or something hit the side of a wall and it's all vitrified, right? And like you see these big old black marks where they have like this little, looks like a turtle or something, and it's just got like over the top, it just got melted. It just melted, looks like a big laser mark, right? And then you also have where else you find some of that? Oh, and then Mohenjo-Daro, of course, that's in the Indus Valley area, northern India and Pakistan, where they found all those bodies, or that's where they believe, in their records, their gods had, were flying around in the sky, having wars with their enemies and stuff like that, and using nuclear weapons. It sounds like by the descriptions of all these things, their skin melting off their bodies and stuff like that. What's funny, what's weird about that one was that they found like bodies like melted into, like it's all all glass, right? First there were stories of if like they were just chopped up, but like they debunked all that one, because the bodies, if they were animals would have already drugged those bodies off if it was that. They just left them to rot like that, but all the bodies were left. High nuclear high radiation area in that whole area. I mean, you can go on and on, man. It's just those type of like, and then, you have stories like that, like in the Mahabharata, right? Or even like biblical, like in the Christian Bible, right? They talk about that, like Sodom and Gomorrah, and like they bomb those areas. And it just seems to me that like, that just seems to be like the pyramid wars and like they talk about in Egypt. But, when you talk about Thoth, right, just like with Matt Owl was talking about with Thoth. Okay, he even talks about he left his spaceship underneath, the lion that has got a human, that has got a likeness of a human, which is the face, which we know is, the Sphinx. But they also have, and other people that been over there with ground penetrating radar, about a mile deep, about the same deep depth of those pyramid, that's underneath the second one, is about the same depth as they have a void down there, is about the same depth, about a mile deep. Same thing down there, right below the Sphinx. Now, all these other things that have been, they found connecting. I mean, again, we're talking all these ancient places, South America. If we haven't known so much about India or China yet, but you know, all these other ones that we know about, all these ancient temples, everything's got underground tunnels underneath all of them, whether it be in the jungle, in the sand, it doesn't matter. You know, all these, and why, you know, you got to think about what are these ancients really thinking about and what they're doing, especially looking at these things and how they're making them. It's incredible of the feats. If these are human beings making this, I would love to see it happen. You know what I mean? But because there was this guy, the one I was following, he was saying, what's interesting about this whole thing is that there is no paperwork, no papyrus, no nothing talking about any, from Greek philosophers to anything written in Egypt on their papyrus talking about anything underneath, you know what I mean? The building of, or even talked about building of something like that underneath the second pyramid. So that's another interesting part about it.
Yeah, real quick, as you were talking about sort of the turning to glass and the heat and stuff, this came to mind. This was from February 27th, so not that long ago, 2025, reported by the BBC and others. But man's brain turned to glass by hot Vesuvius ash cloud. Of course, the famous Vesuvius eruption that took out Herculaneum and Pompeii and others. But, you know, they found they're still in the process of reclaiming a lot of that stuff in the archaeological record. But this was one of the weird ones where they're like, what the hell? How could this possibly happen? And so they're now rethinking how quickly this really kind of cooked everybody, which is, I mean, just a sick space. I mean, hey, cross your fingers that when it's time to go, you're gone in like half a second. I mean, this is what happened to these poor people. But a wild thing. Once again, man's brain turned to glass by hot Vesuvius ash cloud. Anyway, back to you, sir. We got about 4 minutes left or so. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Just speaking of real quick about my brother lives out in Alaska, and we were all, you know, we got a family group chat, and he was talking about one of the volcanoes up there, which is about 78 miles due west of Anchorage where he lives at, and this thing's ready to pop too. And he said he's been throwing, like he said, it was like a Volkswagen size like fireballs out of the top of it. So I'm like, man, you better get out of there too, man.
Time to move.
I know, right? He goes, yeah, they've been having a ton of earthquakes too, about 3 and 4, you know, Richters on it. But man, I'm like, man, bro, you need to get out of there, man. But it's like, you know, with the beauty and stuff, sometimes you got to have some of that, you know, craziness with it, I guess. But yeah, that's probably thinking about that stuff. Again, you know, I wouldn't say maybe just because to me, man, all these ancient, they're not myths. All the stuff is, you know, that talked about in the ancients, they're all real, man, like everything. For me, I'm looking at it in a different perspective and out of a different eye, you know, because I'm seriously looking at like the rock artwork that they left. We can't, you know, we still can't even produce it at that size and that, you know, that whole thing, even just to even like cut the rock and then, you know, drag it, 400 miles and then place it somewhere and then start carving it. You know, it's just,
you got to float it down,
mind blowing.
Float it down the Nile and then flood the space around it and then float it up to the thing on pontoons. And then, I mean, that's what we're told happened. I don't know, like maybe, right? Like given if your life was a Kelly, you and me are in charge of building the pyramids. Let's time travel. And they're like, Mike and Kelly, you're in charge of making this happen. It has to be bigger than anything on the planet or you're dead. Bro, we might be able to figure it out. We might be able to figure it out. You know what I mean? Because you know the guys that came before us, they probably just killed them because they're like, bro, that's way too big. They're like, off with their head. So the next guy's figured out. You know what I mean? Human ingenuity has a way when the off with the head is the consequence.
You know what? To me, I'm looking at all the pictures and, you know, a lot of the pictures that I have painted, you know, inside there where they, you know, show it's literally giants, you know, setting up, carrying blocks. And the one have one in Nubia, he's like carrying 2 elephants, you know, like, you know, strung, like he just killed 2 elephants strung over each shoulder. I mean, those are like, I'm looking at that and that's like, people think that's just like a representation of something. Yeah, it's representation of a giant just killed 2 elephants and he's dragging that shit away. That's what that represents. You know what I mean? That's what that, I mean, look at the pictures like they show. It's not like, I don't know how they can think they can just pick and choose what's real and what they believe is make believe. I don't understand where they're coming from, because these ancients, look at the things they were leaving. I mean, if this thing, what we detected is they're 8 pillars, 2 of them side by side throughout underneath it, right? And they go down a mile deep. Okay. And there on the bottom down there's something about 2 kilometers long or 24 kilometers long. So these things got to be even more, like how many miles long? And we're talking a mile underground.
Yeah.
And then you're going to build a pyramid on top of it?
3 of them.
I mean, come on. Think about, like, seriously, thinking about that. I'm like, really, bro? I mean, this is why I'm so excited about it, because now I want to go to Egypt, and I will dig sand over sand for months to get down into that labyrinth and see what that is.
You get a press pass, let me know. I'm there digging with you. You're the best, brother. I appreciate you very much.
All right, brother. You have a good night.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the call. Tell Michelle we said hi. You're the best. That's right. Kelly in Colorado. You know, we love him. Good friend for a long time. The first guy that called us and then called back has been a good friend ever since. What do you guys know? We're talking not just Zep Tepi. This gets even more weird when you go to the Duat and the underworld of the Egyptian mythology. What's going on with this? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. Daryl coming up. More from James and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
In a cryogenic slumber, lost in the lunar night, your face a faded number, among the stars so bright, dreams of forgotten echoes, waiting for time's command, curtains of gray and sorrow, the lonely lunar sand. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we tried, silent by your where ancient souls reside, suspended in a story, kept in the cold dark tide. Our futures in the making, silver-edged domain, hearts kept in silent aching, till we meet once again. We are awakened below the moonlit sky, to the fragments of the love we tried. Frozen time we're resting, waiting for dawn's embrace, whispers of love confessing in this forgotten place. We are awakened below the moonlit sky, to the fragments of the love we tried.
Indeed. Fantastic call, Kelly. Thank you. What's up, Gaston? Eric is here. Sweets. We got Squigs, Hirsch. What's up, Don, APOC, Matsel, Ricky, and Feel the Vern. I love the name. Feel the Vern. What's up? If I missed anybody in the chat, just say hi in all the places. I'll try and keep up with everybody. Call it Matzel's in. He's all dig with you guys. He says, call it the Troubled Minds Excavation Team. You bet your bippy. What's up? Hope you guys are doing well tonight. Ioxy's here. Good evening. What's up? Who did I miss? If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back. Idle Space. Be back later. Internet. Yeah, okay, here we go. Unseen Steve McQueen. I see ya. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening right about. Meow. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking The Secret in the Sands, finding the lost halls of Amenti, which is the Hall of Records, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which is, hey, this is incredible, right? All of these things, ancient astronaut theorists say yes. However, I say, hold on, let's slow down a little bit and let's wait to see what the actual evidence suggests, because it's all afire all over social media and everybody's talking about these massive structures beneath the Giza Plateau, the Pyramid of Khafre. What does it mean? And of course, what do you expect to find down there? Assuming we could actually excavate. This is the stuff wars are made of, right? When somebody's like, hey, I'm gonna dig there. And they're like, no, you're not. You're like, no, I think humanity needs to know. And they're like, no, you're not going to do that. They're like, well, what if I bring like 10 guys? And they're like, well, what if I bring 20? And you're like, yeah, I mean, hey, here we go. Strap in. Humanity's known for this. This has been our thing forever. And so I don't know. Like there's that, the supposed lost Ark of the Covenant down in Ethiopia. And that hasn't come to blows. Well, it has, but not armies on armies quite yet. So I don't know. Like, is this going to be one of those moments, one of those inflection points in history, as I like to call it? I don't know. However, it doesn't matter because I'm just me, little old me, and it doesn't matter what I think. But there's a lot going on here. And again, so where we started tonight was this wild idea that they found sort of through this new technology. Just to reframe real quick, and then we'll get to the calls. Hang tight one moment, folks. A group out of Italy is using something called synthetic aperture radar, SAR, okay, with new algorithms. And they're suggesting that they found beneath the Giza Plateau, centered underneath the Pyramid of Khafre, which is the middle pyramid, centered, this structure. 8 cylindrical structures, spiral even, some formations on top that might be city-like, and then below it, that goes a mile deep, this massive cube that it's all based on. I don't know. Again, ambiguous evidence as yet. However, is this the Duat, or, as I'm calling it tonight, the Halls of Amenti? And it is the ultimate liminal space, basically, where body meets soul and separates. The ultimate frog request. What was that old Pitfall? You guys remember Pitfall? That old game from like the 80s? The Atari 2600? This is like the ultimate Pitfall adventure. Except if you lose, your soul gets eaten by, is it Pep? What's the name of the deity? Anyway, I'm out of my league here. You tell me. Love to hear your thoughts on this. James, what you got? And then we'll go to Daryl after that. Lots of things in play. Anything came to your mind? Welcome back to the show. How you doing, sir?
I'm okay. Yeah, I kind of put what I was thinking in the chat a minute or two ago, but it was moving so fast. I really wonder, and this is just a complete hypothetical possibility here. What if the Hall of Records is crystallized brains? In other words, brains turned into glass in some way that we don't know of, that mimics, what happened with the volcano and the ash and everything that completely turned someone's brain to glass. What if the Hall of Records is just a collection of the minds, the physical minds of all of, the major figures in Egypt from across who knows how long?
The crystalline mind, which again brought all full circle by this bizarre article of the man's brain turned to glass by hot Vesuvius ash cloud. I like that, James. You're picking up what I'm putting down. I don't know. It's weird, right? It's weird. And think Superman, the Fortress of Solitude, how he sort of they trapped their essences in crystals. I don't know. Is that the future for us? It seems science fiction and ridiculous, but I think maybe plays. Does maybe play, James? Maybe.
It's just too wild that there's, this is something that can happen due to terrible natural circumstances. But then if we don't even know for sure how the pyramids are made with what technology. If there was any kind of exotic technology that we don't know of now that could do that, who knows what else it could do? And wouldn't that be the perfect way to preserve information and maybe even memories? Who knows what else? Through turning us and our brains, the physical brains, into crystals, and then maybe being able to read them someday somehow.
That is the next level of actual data storage, by the way. I'm just saying. Love to hear your thoughts on this. We're talking all manner of wild things tonight, starting with this discovery under the Egyptian Giza plateau. What do you think? Is it mundane? Is it Duat? Is this where soul meets body? Or are we just being ridiculous? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Daryl in New York, thanks for being patient. How are you tonight? And go right ahead.
Hey, Michael. Hey, James. What a great topic. I love this stuff, so fascinating, so interesting. I mean, I'm always getting like the, what do you call those? The allegories? No, the algorithms. Algorithms are always sending me a lot of stuff about ancient history, and a lot of them are AI right now. So I'm trying to delete the AIs and get like real humans.
Yeah, the writing's terrible, isn't it? The AI writing, you can spot it instantly. It's awful.
Oh, yeah, and it's the same, like they're all saying the same thing, and they just like open the site and they have like, under 10,000 followers, and I don't know, and they sound the same, but they're saying the same stuff. But it leads you to other things. I liked an article that I was reading from your things describing how they use their technology and how they were assuming that this was like definitely some sort of energy generator type of equipment that was under these pyramids, using vibrations and sound, and in a three-dimensional quantum way. So it was definitely like a lot of technological discussion in that it looked like it read like a PubMed description of like a medical like experiment.
Yeah,
but
that's on my write-up, right? Because I spent an inordinate amount of time getting the exact details correct, because I didn't want to be like, hey, we found the underworld. So no, we can talk about that, and it's fun and interesting, but I just wanted to make sure that we got the exact details correct before we started going great full on maybe.
Very interesting for sure.
I agree.
And I'm thinking, what was like, first of all, that they had to build, they build cities on top of cities. This is very common for us. We just see a city and then we build something over it. So what were these coils originally? They look pretty intact. I'm assuming they're not destroyed. Maybe they are intact if they were a foundation for the pyramids. I mean, is that how they figured out how to make them stable? Is to build them on those huge mile-long stacks? That's why they didn't fall down. And, there's pyramids all over the world. So obviously this was a very common methodology of whatever they were using it for was very common worldwide. Now, why does some pyramids get overgrown with grass and trees, and we don't even know that there are pyramids there? We just assume they're mountains. And like in Egypt, the civilizations kept living there. So maybe it got, overblown with sand, but they kept up, and they were not near any kind of vegetation that was going to take over them. And there were people still living in that neighborhood, possibly because there's an ocean nearby and the river. Where is in the Amazon, they were on a river, which was probably very, very good to live next to in those days before something really bad happened. And what really bad thing happened that turned the Sahara, into the desert? What made all that sand go all over the, most of, where Egypt is, used to be lush and tropical. And even that river What? Go ahead.
Or even the ocean. I mean, there's some places in the Egyptian desert. I think it's Egypt where they have like whale fossils. I mean, clearly the entire space of the world has been sort of turned inside out and upside down constantly and continually over millions of years. So, like I said, I won't. Yeah, maybe I won't be shocked to find something that would blow your mind. I'd be like, well, that makes sense. Ancient astronaut theorists say yes. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Exactly. Well, I'm thinking also, like, you know, Tesla, when he was testing out his coil, I don't know exactly where he was on the planet, but it was pretty much, if you cut the planet in two, it was the exact opposite side of the planet as that Russian forest that, at the same exact time that they had that, like, weird, you know, they couldn't figure out what, like, killed all the trees and flattened that whole neighborhood. It was like in Siberia. I can't remember the name of the forest in the 20s or something. I was just hearing about this recently. And like, he tested his coil, and that was at the same time that happened. Was that the cause of that destructive force? You know, was his like energy coil? And I'm thinking, if they were energy conductors, maybe they accidentally like had a massive like a fuse blowing out, but it was worldwide, you know, like all of those like nuclear energies that were under the ground, they had a short or something, you know. I'm just thinking, I'm just like, you know, daydreaming, but what if that's what caused all of that, you know, like that explosions, and maybe some places that were still building their pyramids weren't as badly affected, you know, or, you know, some people that didn't even have pyramids were probably okay because they were near that vast energy source. I don't know. It's a thought. It's just a thought.
No, you're allowed. You're allowed. There's a lot of energies in motion on the earth, and I do wonder what our ancestors recognized as these sort of resonant energies. I always talk about the electromagnetic field. For one, is that we're energetic entities in a lot of ways, and it affects us, and we have that our own sort of fields coming from our hearts and our brains that are also electromagnetic. And so I do wonder, right? Like that type of stuff we talk about, intuition and some of these other things, the morphic resonance, Rupert Sheldrake, and that the noosphere of ideas. There's a lot of these things that make some sense. Again, given, let's strip away all our technology, all the lights in the sky, and then have us maybe go try and figure these things out in the most basic sense, the most primordial sense. And maybe the intuition plays because we pick up on them. I mean, I don't know. And this is where this acceleration, the quickening of technology might be able to pick that stuff apart and actually say that, look, quantum entanglement is a thing, but let's say you have a thought in New York and the butterfly effect plays, and maybe that thought hits me in Vegas. I'm driving around doing the thing, and like maybe I'm like, wow, what about this idea? And I had no idea it came from you, just for example, right? And so if we're doing this stuff all the time, that would be what is known as the noosphere. So I don't know. It's a wild thing to consider all of these ideas, and you're spot on, I think. And what comes next, anybody knows. But go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. So I just was like wondering now if they're telling us these pyramids, which we know are much older than what they say they are, but if they are dating them back to 4,000 years, and these substructures have been buried for how long? Like how long have they been buried? We've we only know about, certain things in Egypt that's been dug up, in the last 200-300 years that we know about, But how old are these sub foundations? And how long did it take them to build those? And, maybe they lived amongst those substructures before the pyramids showed up, Maybe that was just like the way that the cities looked, And then they said, oh, we could build a pyramid on this as soon as they, discovered it many, many years later. Who knows? Wait, what else was I going to say? Oh, and as far as digging up pyramids, we got to find a pyramid-friendly country, maybe Mexico, or where they haven't really, excavated. Even our country, I'm sure we have pyramids. I'm sure we have pyramids here that we don't even know are pyramids because they've been overgrown, and we think they're just mountains. But they just found one in China, I think it was, that was even larger than the one in Egypt. I mean, it was much larger, like I don't know how many times bigger than the Egypt ones, and they're still excavating, but they're like gingerly doing it, because they don't. I don't know. Why are they so afraid to find out something? Who knows? Or maybe they know that there's some serious energy going on down there.
Yeah. Well. Again, narrative building and narrative keeping is one of the most ancient, right? Storytelling. That's what this is about.
Right.
And so, if let's say, and I think we're probably all mostly in agreement that, as I've discussed in the past, that granular form of history, when you can kind of pull all the data points from all the places and rework the narratives that we're supposed to believe. I think that's what
they don't.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's being protected, because they're like, we don't want it looks bad for us, and so
right.
Well, what do
they
we
want to
do
keep those history books intact. Meanwhile, that city that Kelly talked about, did you see the size of the statues there? Like, there is no way little people were building those huge statues. These were like so large. There's no way. Like, look at the large heads in Mexico or in Easter Island. Like, there's no way people our size were doing that stuff. There's we don't do that now. Why would we have done it then? And the other thing I was thinking about, they find all these people, like all these skeletons with their heads like elongated, and some of them look like they were done on purpose, right? Why? And this is all over the world. Why were people trying to bind their heads to make them longer? Were they trying to imitate their alien counterparts, or these giants that came down like God? If they came down like God and didn't eat everybody up, if they were living amongst each other, obviously it looks like they were, they probably thought they were God and they wanted to emulate them, So that's why I'm thinking, why would anyone, I wouldn't bind my head to look like that, even if I, I wouldn't,
Hold on though, social pressure is huge. They were binding feet in China until recently, and maybe they're still doing it. Is it China or is it Japan? Somewhere in the East, right? They're like binding their toes because it's sexy.
To make them...
Yeah, it's like, what the hell? Yeah. But it's like deforming and crippling their feet. But it's like, come on now.
Yeah.
Like, hey, but when those shoes are on and those feet are tiny, it's super sexy. By the way, too, I've said this in the past. What's with that foot thing? What's up, you sickos? Stop it. Stop it. And stop with the foot thing.
I know. Leave those feet alone.
Leave the feet alone. Anyway.
I'm sure you don't have good balance on those little feet either. You shouldn't be messing around with your physical structure like that. It's can't be good for you. Or look at the... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm just joking, of course. I want to just make the it's an old joke that I always make on Troubled Minds, and one of our old bros was like, "Hey, bro, I'm a feet guy." I'm like, "Okay, you're good."
Yeah, right.
I'm just it's a joke. It's a joke, but in this case, it makes sense because hey, leave the feet alone. They got to be able to. Right? They got to be able to walk on those things. Anyway, go ahead.
I know. And as well, like the women I was in Thailand. I was in the little village of those women from Karen. And that's the tribe that they put those rings around their necks. Still to this very day, or at least since 1995, to make their necks elongated. And if they're born on a Wednesday, it's considered a blessing. So if you're born on any other day of the week, you don't get to. Luckily, you get exempt from that neck enlarging or neck. Isn't that crazy? And they're still doing this to make their necks longer.
I'm gonna have to go into my astrology chart and see which day I was born on. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Right? Well, it's only for the women though. Like, not the men don't have to elongate their necks. But they never take them off. They never take them off for any reason because their necks would collapse. So every year that they grow, when they get a year older, they put another ring around their neck until they're like a giraffe. Their necks are stretched out, and they wouldn't be able to hold their heads up either if they remove those things. So you better not have a neck injury.
Absolutely.
Watch your head. But
absolutely. Go ahead. What else you got?
I think that's about it. So I just had two little jokes. Do you know why did the archaeologists break up with the pyramid?
No idea.
He found it was too ancient to date. And why did the pyramid break up with the archaeologist?
Oh, the plot thickens. I have no idea.
He felt like he was always being taken for granite. All right, that's it.
You're the best. You're the best. Always a pleasure. Daryl in New York, you love a good friend for a long time and very talented in many ways. Not just the cosmic comic, as we're calling her because the old name was not as flattering, the cosmic comic, of course, but also talented. Not just she sings very well. If you guys have checked her out, she does the karaoke on the Troubled Minds Discord. You guys can join, you can sing, you can hang out, you can just listen or whatever. They have a chat because they do it on Zoom. Please check that out. Come say hi. But of course, the easiest way to find Daryl is to go check out her YouTube channel, troubledminds.org/friends, or click the friends link on the website. Scroll down a little bit. It says Daryl. Just click the thing. She's got a YouTube channel. She's got some stuff on Morgellons, some paranormal stuff. Of course, she sings both in English and French, as I said. And come say hi. Go leave her a nice comment on her YouTube channel, pretty please. And then also join the Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link on top. It's that blue button. It's free. It's a chat client. It's a voice client. It's completely free. We're streaming on it right now. We're taking calls on it. We talked to Daryl on it. James is on it. All these many people are on it, and you should be too. If you're like technology, boo. Hey, there's a lot of people who have gone through that learning curve and they can help you in there. And it's a good group, and that's the rule. You have to be good as part of the group, because if you come in and try and bust things up, you're gone. We don't play. If you want to do that on the rest of the internet, go do it. In our group, we don't play. Okay, we be nice to each other. The golden rule is the rule, and that's that. But come say hi, come meet Daryl. She's amazing. And go check out the karaoke she does. Because like I said, I spent some time here and there dipping in and saying hi. And there's some very talented people that are just hanging out, singing all the way through the night sometimes. Like after we're done, sometimes they'll like come on at midnight or whatever. So please do that. Appreciate you, Daryl. Thank you very much for not just the jokes, but all the amazing wit and candor and all the things you bring to the show. You're the best. James, anything on what Daryl said or anything else?
Just great calls from Kelly and Daryl. Yeah, I don't know. I do always wonder about so many of the ancient, obelisks and statues and all that are just so huge. I've always wondered how those are made as well. And these buildings, I do agree. It seems like there's just more and more places that are found underground around the world. And it seems like they also, in some cases, the dating keeps on coming back as they're older and older. And you hear that over and over again with any kind of site. Well, we thought it was a few hundred years old. It's more than that now. It's 1,000 years old. And that always blows my mind too, because when is that going to stop? Is that, when is there going to be some kind of definite way to tell how old a place is to where the numbers stop going back? And what does that mean if they are going back? Then does that mean that our methods our dating methods of all that material and all that is that unstable or that inaccurate, or we're just, because of who knows why? But all those things I always wonder about. How old is everything really?
Or that curated becomes really the question. Like what kind of information is allowed out into the academic circles? Because if you literally step out of those circles, you're ostracized in a lot of ways. And so, which is ridiculous to me, because the whole point of a tenured professor is so that stuff doesn't happen. So you're allowed to kind of research and bring avant-garde ideas into the space of academia, and then you do, and they'll still, the world turns on you anyway. It's just a crazy system, the upside down, as we always say. But yeah, if you got something, go ahead. If not, I got a clip to play real quick before we take a break. You tell me.
Just, I forget who it was. It might have been, was it John Mack? There was someone who was doing research into various paranormal aspects of psychology and all that. And I think he was one of those where he had tenure. He had, he was a respected scientist in those medical fields. But when he started doing research into anything that was not acceptable, the other people in the college he was in tried to get him kicked out. I forget now if it was him and exactly what it was, but I do think that can happen. And I wonder how often that's happened. And again, just like you were saying, we don't hear about it because it's covered up.
Yeah, all the rest of that. I'm going to play this quick clip because I'm not sure we're going to get it in tonight, so I'm going to squeeze it in right now. But this is the initial video press conference of them describing, from Italian translated to English, this discovery. So this is just the first part of it. We'll play the rest when we come back. But here we go. Part one of the translated short video describing the discovery.
The legendary Amenti. Good evening and welcome to Expedition, the official channel of the Khafra project. This is announcement number 2, and as the head of communications for the research project, I will now read to you the official press release of the Khafra project, which has just been distributed to both Italian and international media. Here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great enthusiasm that we officially announce today our research team has succeeded in identifying a vast underground city beneath the Giza plateau, which corresponds to the legendary Amenti. This city is mentioned in ancient texts as a place linked to the universal knowledge of humankind and its ultimate spiritual transformation. This extraordinary achievement has been made possible through the processing of SAR data obtained from Capella Space satellites. A pioneering technological approach to archaeology. The uniqueness of this discovery lies not only in its immense historical and archaeological significance, but also in the innovative method employed. Thanks to ultra-high azimuth resolution radar imaging achieved through specialized spotlight acquisitions with long Doppler integration, we have been able to extract precise acoustic information. In particular, the satellite data has been processed using a groundbreaking technique, Doppler tomography, developed by Professor Filippo Biondi, an internationally renowned expert in synthetic aperture radar, interferometry, and multichromatic tomographic analysis.
It's complicated. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. Love to hear your thoughts. We got more from James. Phone lines are empty if anybody wants to jump in here. What do you know about the secret in the sands? Finding the lost halls of Amenti. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up.
Shadows. We've got maps where nobody goes. In the night under hidden glows, guardians of what no one knows. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me. In cloaked silence we traverse the lines, through ancient scrolls in forgotten times. Voices echo in the halls of lore, guardians of the mysteries evermore. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me. Shadows meet in cryptic disguise, our eyes sharp against the everglades. With silver threads we weave the stealth to guard the past, forgotten world. In the realm where the myths collide, with hidden lore our fates are tied. Signals bouncing off the astral plane, invisible codes that can't be tamed. We decode the stars under the midnight veil, a state and circumstance midnight hail. In the echoes of time where the legends lay, we tread the path where shadows play. With spectral eyes we discern the truth, unraveling tales from ancient youth. We seek the truth.
Oh, those AI fades are horrific, so we'll do it manually. What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. Fantastic calls from everybody. Thank you for your ideas. This is a big one. I mean, potentially, right? And I'll talk about it when we come back because there's a lot of things in play here. But I see you guys in the chat. Thanks for being cool and chill with each other. Like I said, the number one rule of being a troubled mind is to be nice to each other. That's it. That's it. The golden rule is the most important thing here, and that's it. And like I said, I'll off with their head all of the internet and have them make accounts over and over again to come troll us. We ain't going to play that game. We're just not going to do it. And the mods have been instructed in all the places, off with their heads first. Shoot first and ask questions later. Just a reminder. So if you want to come in and troll this space, good game. Go make a new account and come back and we'll do it again. Anyway, what's up, Ricky, Kelly? How you doing, Gaston, Eric, Sweets? We got Enoch, Apoc, Matzel, Daryl, Squigs, Dawn, Herschel, Field of Vern, and once again, your name is obfuscated. I'm sorry. You're new to the joint. Thanks for joining the thing, Idle Space. I see you there. And thanks for all the smart comments. All the people out there in all the places. If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back. Let's see. Who did I miss? Let's see. Enoch is here. Good evening. What's up? What's up, Daryl? Thanks for the call. Fantastic stuff. Hello, good evening. What's up, Sylvain? Damn, that one was good. What, the joke? Yeah, the jokes are good. Ioxy, how you doing? What's going on, folks? Hope you're well tonight. Yeah, Kelly makes a great point. It has to be older. Like if these are structures, substructures of the ancient pyramids, it has to be incredibly older. That's not something that happens in like a few years. So who knows what's going on with that? Who did I miss? If I missed anybody, just say hi. I'll say hi back. All you got to do is say hi, Mike, and that's it. It's a very simple, very basic. It's a, human stuff. Hi. Hi, Mike. Hi, whoever you are out there. Who did I miss? I'm always looking for who I missed because I try to include everybody as we go. But like I said, we got two different audiences, the live audience and a whole podcast audience completely separate. Anyway, here we go. Troubled Minds coming up right now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. That's terrestrial radio on the Underground Media Network. Shout out to our friends in Auckland, New Zealand. We're drive time down there. They're going home. It's Miller time, and they're like, damn, I want a cold beer, and I want to listen to something weird. We got you. We got you. Tonight we're talking, well, the secret in the sands, I'm calling this, finding the lost halls of Amenti, which is weird, right? Because it's I guess probably the ultimate liminal space. The ultimate liminal space. And in ancient Egyptian mythology, the halls of Amenti are this massive substructure. It is the underworld, but it is layers and layers and layers. And everything I could find today suggested that it was, like I said, Pitfall. You guys ever play that old game Pitfall? What I can't remember the music. It'll come to me. But I played the hell out of that game on the Atari 2600. But you're the adventurer, sort of in the Indiana Jones, like 8-bit. Not even that. Was it 4-bit? What was it? It was ridiculous. Swinging over, the alligators and the moats and the everything trying to kill you. And you're trying to get to the end. And the funny thing about Pitfall is it never ended. It just regenerated a new scene over and over again. And you were moving from left to right to left to right. And it was snakes and alligators and water and pits and anything. Anyway, that's the halls of Amenti, apparently, from a bunch of different sources as I was able to discern today, doing as much research as I could. But the weird part is that we're in this bizarre future, present/future, where this may have been discovered in some capacity. So again, back to where we started tonight, there's this whole thread happening that's all over social media. Everybody's talking about it. And it's basically describing this massive discovery beneath the Giza Plateau. It's weird, right? And so I do wonder, you know me, I like to get weird, and I like to consider, the philosophical construct and the mythology and all the rest of the things, and maybe the spaces we missed in folklore. Is it possible there's an actual opening somewhere, some way into the underworld itself? And is that, let's say, going back to Zep Tepi, again, 39,000 years ago? the original breakaway civilization. And we describe that now in mythological terms as the underworld. You get what I'm saying? If you're picking up what I'm putting down, fantastic. Thank you. Congratulations. Otherwise, I just sound like a rambling maniac. But I can see it a lot of ways. And I hope you can too. I got more of those clips to play. Phone lines are empty. If anybody wants to jump in here, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have an idea here, James, anything you got? And we'll play a couple more of these clips because it's important to kind of maybe finish this out. Because that, funny enough, some of the chat over there on Rumble were like, "Wow, that person sounds like they're being held hostage at gunpoint." And to read this statement, anyway, go ahead. Welcome back, bro.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it is. I do agree with the whole. You were talking earlier with Daryl about narratives and keeping them one way and then other people trying to change them. I think that's just been the way people that we've been as a species now for a very long time. And then you get larger groups of people that are being controlled by smaller groups and with governments and all that. I've heard that in some places in like China and other places, they're literally changing and in some cases even ruining or trying to add on to ancient structures to sort of make them popular tourist attractions to push their own narrative, even when whatever they're changing it doesn't necessarily support that. And that's the scary part to me, is the physical alterations that people can make to places to shape narratives, and that can go from governments to individuals. We've talked before about how I heard somewhere that some of the markings that were on the pyramids, found on pyramids, may have been made by the people in the modern day, fairly modern day explorers who went there because they needed something to sort of show other people and something to make their work, whatever they were doing, seem more important. And there were errors found in some of those markings. So, anyway, I think I just did some rambling myself there. So, looking forward to the clips.
No, you're right, and that's the thing, right? When you think about, again, notoriety and sort of the human desire for fame and the rest of the stuff, fortune and glory, right, from Indiana Jones, is that you get people lying about stuff to make a name. But by the way, just to look at, and I know many of you think I'm not here, the people that listen, many of the haters think, oh, this guy's so dishonest or whatever. Like, I'm an honest guy. If you call me and be like, Mike, this is all BS, I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. That's it. You win. You win. I'm not a dishonest guy. But there are a ton of dishonest people in not just academia, but the private sector of the world over, the government, you name it. And it's an unbelievable amount of people that will lie, cheat, and steal to kind of press their legacy forward. I mean, eventually history catches up to that, right? So I don't know. Like there's some figures historically that are horrific. Like they probably thought they were doing the right thing at the time, or maybe they didn't, but maybe they thought they were fooling some people. But anyway, you get the point. It's I don't know. My point is, honesty is the best policy. Stick with it and defer, and just keep dreaming, keep thinking. It's important. Let's go back to these clips. This is again the hostage, as it was described over on Rumble. It sounds like this woman's being held hostage. It's not. So if you hear in the background, there's actually like an Italian. It's an Italian press conference, and there's a voiceover in English translating. So that's why we're hearing it the way we hear it. So it's not. It's not that space. Okay, it's not like you think. It's a produced thing. And there was a couple errors, by the way, that I trimmed out. It was like she said, my team, and then she stopped and then reversed and then went to what the translation was. So those weird spots that didn't flow with the conversation, I trimmed out. But that was it. This is otherwise unedited and direct, other than like a clear translation mishap. So I just kind of trimmed those, like 2 seconds here, 2 seconds there. But here we go. Part 2 of this. And like I said, this was the initial video was like 5 or 6 minutes long, at least the one that was circulated online. I didn't see the thing in its entirety, and it seems like it got cut off at the end. So we may be being played, by the way, because propaganda and all the rest. But anyway, part 2, listen to this. Does it still sound like this translator's being held hostage? This is the press conference in Italian that's being translated to English and then was released to the public. And don't forget, this is just the initial release. There's more data to come regarding, well, what lies beneath the Giza Plateau. Here we go. Part 2 of this. There's only 3 parts and it's very short. So, of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts, or you can hear me ramble on about Zep Tepi and the Duat and some other things, but I'd love to do it. So that's why I'm here. I signed up for this. Here we go. Part 2 of this conversation. Well, the press conference release, edit something. Here we go. I don't even know what to think about it. Here we go. Part 2.
This patented methodology enables the creation of 3-dimensional reconstructions of underground structures, allowing the identification of corridors, chambers, and tunnels extending several kilometers beneath the surface. These new archaeological findings could redefine our understanding of the sacred topography of ancient Egypt, providing spatial coordinates for previously unknown and unexplored subterranean structures. A discovery of this magnitude has only been possible thanks to the contributions of a multidisciplinary team of internationally renowned experts. Dr. Nicole Ciccolo, a forensic handwriting expert with over 25 years of experience in civil and criminal investigations. She has worked with numerous Italian prosecutors and authored significant forensic analyses. Her expertise in deciphering ancient manuscripts has been crucial in interpreting certain symbols identified at the site. Professor Filippo Biondi, a specialist in radar technology and satellite imaging, with experience at the University of Strathclyde, UK, the Italian Space Agency, and the National Research Council. He is currently one of the world's leading experts in the development of SAR processing algorithms, with applications in space archaeology. Dr. Armando May, a historian and Egyptologist specializing in the study of pre-dynastic civilizations. He has conducted archaeological field research in Egypt and collaborated with numerous international academic institutions. His theories on the correlation between underground structures and the myth of Zep Tepi have guided the team's investigations. Professor Corrado Malanga, head of the research project, a chemist and former researcher at the University of Pisa, with a long-standing career in the study of consciousness and the phenomena related to perception of reality. His expertise has enabled the development of new interpretative models for analyzing the discovered structures.
Okay. Yes, feels very hostage-esque on the delivery. Well said over on Rumble. Here's the thing, though. Armando May. Now, if I was a cynical debunker, I would be like, okay, well, this is the Zep Tepi guy. This is the dude with the theory that goes back to 39,000 years, okay? And not to say that because you have a weird theory, it destroys every single thing you've ever said or ever will do. I mean, basically, look, for me, I've pigeonholed myself because I said an unbelievably amount of bizarre and weird things as thought experiments, right? And so imagine the hit piece on Michael Strange, just for instance, like going back, 7 years or whatever. Is it 7 years? Almost 7 years of just the ridiculous things I said. Like you could put together the most unbelievably stupid clip of anything that anybody's ever said, probably, dare I say, in history, and make me look like the most foolish MFer on the planet. Though, with full context, that's clearly not the case. I'm exploring ideas, delving deeper, delving wider, wondering about why these resonant energies seem to reciprocate each other and why we're still dealing with ancient ideas. Okay. So there's very smart things underlying here, but clearly you can take a shot at anybody. So I don't want to do that to this guy. And so I don't know. And like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic and awaiting the further data as part of it. But I did notice that I pulled up the articles on Zep Tepi and I was like, oh, that's the dude. That's the dude. That's the dude doing this too. So did they bring him on as an advisor? You see what I'm saying? It makes your tinfoil tingle sometimes when you see a lot of the same names kind of coming up with particular things and spaces and maybe generating hype cycles in the media. And that's, again, for me personally, is why I do this, because I think it's important to talk about these ideas as outsiders. And I will be the eternal outsider, by the way. I've refused to kiss ass all the way up the totem pole. So I'm going to be the eternal outsider with you guys as my secret weapon. Because you can kiss ass up the way up the totem pole, but then you're selling out the ideas, right? Because you're bowing to the folks that want to tell you what to believe and what to think. I don't want to do that. I want to think about them as they come and see what the narratives bring us, and then bring our own narratives. It's weird. It's a weird space to be in. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. There's a lot here going on. Part 3 of this. Anything on that, James? And then we'll play part 3 here. Part 3 is it. It's very short. It was like 6 minutes. I trimmed it up a little bit, and so it was like 5.5 or something. But anyway, anything on that, James? And then we'll play part 3 of this.
I'm glad you're playing these because I've been kind of distracted by a lot of things and haven't really looked into any of this myself. But yeah, it is weird when you see names, some of the same names on different projects. But I think it's until you sort of can investigate further and find out more about them, then it's hard to know what's going on there. And I'm with you. I've always been sort of on the outside as well, because again, I started off with one idea of what things are that I'm looking into, and now I have many, and I don't know which ones are right, and that's okay. But yeah, looking forward to the last clip here.
Yeah, that's the point, right? And I don't know. Like I said, it's easy. As Yoda said, the dark side is quicker, easier, more seductive. But you kind of stick to your guns and just do your thing, and look what happens. We build this beautiful community with all these amazing people and amazing ideas. Because I didn't try and kiss ass all the way up the totem pole to, I'm not going to mention names. I don't like to cause unnecessary drama. I have a hot take now and then, but hot take culture is not where this is at. And so I think we need to be very cautious of that idea of division. Part 3, here we go. So this is the final part. Like I said, it was very short, and we're looking forward to more. There will be more of this. So maybe we'll follow up on this next week and talk about this together as more data comes out. Like I said, at this point, it's ambiguous, and it's some pretty wild claims. Okay, the Duat, that's my term. I mean, it's an ancient Egyptian term, but it's my term as part of this. But the halls of Amenti, they mentioned in a press conference. Think about that. the lost city of Tanis mentioned in a press conference with the halls of Amenti, which is you get it. It's weird, right? It's weird they even mention it. It's anyway. Part 3. Here we go. Still held hostage? No, she's just a translator of the Italian going on. Here we go. Part 3 of this, just another minute and a half, and then love to hear your thoughts. Let's hear it.
The support of Capella Space, a new frontier for archaeology. This demonstrates how the integration of space technology and historical research can overcome the limitations of traditional archaeological investigations, allowing us to map the subsurface of Giza without invasive excavations. Capella Space's SAR satellites, capable of producing radar images with centimeter-level resolution, have made it possible to generate highly precise acoustic images of Giza's underground, finally revealing to humanity the existence of the halls of Amenti. Project presentation events. To provide an in-depth look at this extraordinary discovery, the CAFRA Research Project SR Technology has organized 2 exclusive conferences, both to be held at the Hotel Castello Artemide Congressi, Viale Terme 1010/B, 40024 Castel San Pietro Terme BO, Italy. March 15th, 2025. Seats still available. A press conference for accredited journalists only, which will be held both in person and remotely. All relevant documentation for journalists can be found via the link in the description of this video. March 16th, 2025. Event sold out. The official technical conference, featuring the research team, where the findings and Doppler tomography imaging will be presented for the first time. The overwhelming interest from the public has led to a sold-out event within days. The future of the project. In the coming months, the CAFRA Research Project SAR Technology will continue working persistently on new tomographic analyses and 3-dimensional models of the underground structures, aiming to finally produce a complete and precise map of what lies beneath the Giza Plateau.
Okay. And so You see, it was very, very brief. And recognize that those dates that she read have come and gone. So what is it, the 20th? It's the 20th today over here in North America. And she's like the 15th, the 16th. So I'm wondering, right? Like this is the type of stuff that if I was a cynical debunker, I'd be like, well, what happened there? Why don't we have that information? Where maybe I missed it personally. Maybe I'm bringing you a broken narrative here or whatever, which is fine because I'm human and I'm allowed. Get over it. But also, what happened today? What happened yesterday? What happened the next day? I don't know. It's strange, as usual, right? When I see like this type of stuff where these claims being made, I'm always of two minds. Always. Okay, let's take it to the Marvel's what if realm. What if this is true? And that's the most fun, obviously. Obviously, it's not even close. What if this is true? And what does it mean? And you start to kind of delve down into what that is and what it looks like in your mind, conceptually, the thought experiment. But then, of course, the most cynical part is, what if it's not? What if this is nonsense? What if this is hype? What if this is, well, yeah, you know, I don't even have to say it. I could wave my arms and call people liars and raise my voice and do all the things, right? But you already know it's in the back of your mind, and you're mad about it too. But you see what I mean? There's a problem here, and the problem is a disconnect, not just of information, but the data. And I'll say it now. I've said this before, and it's gotten me some heat in the UFO community. By the way, too, we're not even really part of the UFO community. Like a lot of those folks have just sort of been like, nah, this guy's all over the place. He says this and he says that. Yes, that's how you think. That's part of the thought experiment aspect of all of this. You're supposed to consider the angles before you decide yourself. And by the way, on the UFO stuff, I haven't decided myself. I still haven't. I've been talking about it for years and I still haven't. And so I don't recommend you lock into a personality or an angle because this is a fluid thing. You see, there's a lot in play. What was I going to say? There's a lot of things happening and we got some calls. I got hands up. It's too late in the segment for me to take calls. So hang tight, guys. We'll get to Theo first and then Herschel after the break. I don't want to cut you guys super short, but this is complicated stuff because we're talking about the nature of reality. We're talking about humanity back to 39,000 years with Zep Tepi. We're talking about Graham Hancock level stuff that I don't think as far as I'm aware, he hasn't actually addressed this yet. And not that he's the arbiter of truth, by the way. Like I said, don't ever worship people, including me. And also, by the way, your litmus test, in my opinion, because it's my litmus test, is do I think this way because such and such who I admire or respect said this? And if that's the case, we're doing it wrong. You have to think about that yourself and boil it down into your own opinion in your own mind and kick the cosmic soccer ball around in your headspace and then decide what you decide. You get it? Like I don't worship these UFO people. I don't. The toppest of the top, you name them. I don't care. I'm interested in what they might say. But because they said it doesn't mean I believe it. Okay? Nor should you in anything I say. Look, recognize too, I say don't believe me. They don't say that. You see? There's a problem here. There's a massive problem. There's a massive information problem here. So anyway, I was going to call out some people, but I won't do it because shut your mouth, Mike. It's too late and you're too stupid for the moment. But not directly, but some functions. Some people saying, well, we have insiders that know these secrets, but we need your donations to do further research to bring you disclosure. Okay? Just put that in your pipe and smoke it and think deeply about that. So do we know or do we don't know? James, anything on that? Got a minute or two left and we'll take some calls after the break.
Well, just stay calm, Mike. Calm down now. No, I'm kidding.
James, don't tell me to calm down.
But no, I agree. And Yeah, whenever there's sort of a big news story and then it fades away, there's nothing that comes out about it days later. I'd really be curious to see how long that kind of that silence lasts, on this whole thing. And it's not that I'm saying that stuff doesn't take time to do as far as scientific this and that, but the choosing of what the media decides to put out about that is something that can be chosen. I think probably is. They won't share anything possibly as far as the media goes until it's something they can sensationalize and make a bigger story out of it than maybe it really is, or make a completely different story out of whatever it is. So yeah, I think it's all it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this over time if whatever does happen.
We're still waiting, James. Where's the little Spanky from Little Rascals drumming his fingers on the thing with his hand on his face? Like, still waiting. We're still waiting, James.
Isn't that funny? We're still waiting on a lot of different things, and a lot of different fields or subjects, or a lot of different things. Depending on who you talk to about any kind of paranormal stuff or UFO stuff, we're still waiting.
Still waiting on a lot of things. And so that's why I played those clips. That's why I pulled them out. That's why I always have backup info, by the way, in case we don't get enough interest. We got some interest now. Thanks for listening. Thanks for caring. I will follow this closely. I hope you guys will too. If you don't, I'll bring you the relevant information as far as I can determine it, and we'll talk about it, because that's what this is all about. It's about regular people talking about extraordinary things. You're the best, James. Thanks. We'll get back to you in just a moment here. We're going to take a quick break. Yeah, a quick break. What is it? Final segment. If you want to get in here, the time is ripe. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We got Theo coming up, Herschel, more from James and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
Troubled mind, the words they cast, heavy shadows from the past. A restless heart, a searching soul, seeking space to become whole. Troubled minds find open sky through every tear and every sigh. We rise, we fall, wings unfurled, more than labels in this world. In crowded streets or empty rooms, our echoes chase away the gloom. A spark of hope, a whispered truth, a shared melody, our fountain of youth. We're more than static on the line, singing louder than the signs. In every chord, we claim our part, beating drums match the heart. Grab the strings, we tune the stars. Punk rock anthems heal the scars. A blended mix of rage and art, painting freedom, that's just the start. Troubled minds take the stage. In every note, we break the cage. We rise, we fall, but carry on. Sing our truth until the dawn. In the quiet after the song, echoes of our rights and wrongs. But the music speaks for peace. In the chords we find release. Troubled minds now rest at ease. With every breath we seize release. We stand, we soar into the light. Our anthem roar into the night.
I don't play that one a lot because it's so campy branded, but I really love it. Anybody else love that or hate that? Feedback on that? Troubled Minds, take the stage. I think it's really good. Well, but I'm biased. Obviously, I'm biased. What's up? Hope you guys are doing well tonight. We're just hanging out talking about this. Yeah. A lot of things in motion, per usual, right? A lot of things in motion. And it's important to recognize when our mind space is being hijacked by these things in motion. So just, as a Michael Strangeism, I'm always suspicious, right? Always suspicious of these things. And not just this, not just the sort of esoteric narratives, but all narratives. They make my tinfoil tingle. What's up, guys? In the chat, what's up, Theo? Favorite Substack? Oh, we got a Theo Substack? All right. Well, you're wrecked now, kid. I'm adding you to the list. Good game. Tried to sly it. Nope, wrecked. First rule of TMR Fight Club is to be nice to each other. Exactly right, Gordo. YY says Patrick was a Roman hitman who got sent to wipe out the last druids. Let's hope not. Oh, dear God, time traveler. Down in the workshop where it smells like wood, lost life opportunities. Here we go. Trouble Mind's happening now. Here we go. Oh, my goodness. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. That's terrestrial radio, by the way. You think we're schlubs and nobodies? Hey, wait till that expands. Hey. Tonight we're talking The Secret in the Sands, Finding the Lost Holes of Amenti, the Duat. Basically, is there a liminal space where the soul can be removed from the body? Wasn't there like a... What's that song? Death Cab for Cutie, where soul meets body. You guys know that song? That's a really great song. Death Cab, yeah, where soul meets body. Except in this case, the lost halls of Amenti are where the soul is removed from the body. Weird, right? Weird how we're still talking about this thousands of years later. Anyway, what do you think is beneath the sands of the Giza Plateau? That's what's on my mind tonight. New science suggests that there are massive structures. And who am I to defer or disagree? Because I haven't seen the data yet. And I think the granular data hasn't been released. Just like with the Soul Foundation, just like with Skinwalker Ranch, just like with TTSA. You guys
now you've done it.
Now I've done it. Now I've said the words. Now I actually said the words. It's fine. Gary Nolan already blocked me. Also,
oh, okay.
I got some choice words for those people, but look, I don't care. Like, look, if you're literally trying to say these are the truths of the universe, we have them, but we can't give them to you unless you give us your money. Don't you see how that reeks of not having the secrets of the universe? Anyway, James, anything on that? We'll go to some calls. I called them out. I've said it before. Go ahead, sir.
I agree with all of that. And yeah, it's the amazing thing with me with all these discoveries and this technology that's happening is the amount of things that are being found using satellites out in space. That's another angle to all this that I think I wonder how long it'll be. I know that some people, if you know enough people, the right people, or if you pay enough or whatever, you can get access to certain information from the satellites and all that. And I think there's probably some free stuff too. But as satellites get more and more advanced, I mean, who knows what'll be found with those? And but of course, who knows how much of whatever is found will be shared?
Yeah, which is it's why it's important to remain balanced in all the things. That's why we're here. That's why this is a conversation amongst regular people about extraordinary things. What do you guys think is beneath the Giza Plateau? Hopeful, skeptical, somewhere in between. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Just like this, let's go to Theo. Been waiting for a minute. Thanks for being patient, my man. Theo in Philly. You're on Troubled Minds, the official poet. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I love like the conversation that you and James have had before.
Thank you. James is a good friend, and he's a smart guy, and absolutely. Thank you. What do you got? Go ahead.
Just like, I definitely do not have any actual contemplation of what, the truth could possibly be, as I suppose you guys don't know either. But I gotta say, it's like, something like the Akashic records actually exist. I would like just be super pissed off if like my poets or my poetry somehow ended up inside there.
You're mad about the archive?
Like, it's just like, the Akashic records, like everything that happened before and in the future, and somehow like, my future poetry ended up inside there and I didn't get to like, benefit from that. I don't know. Like, wouldn't that feel like kind of weird, if all your future radio shows were just in the Akashic records and you didn't get a chance to record them with us?
That means they already exist and I don't need to. Hey, you gave me a great reason to quit. Maybe this is the last Troubled Mind show and it might be your fault.
Yeah, dude. Let's just like, stop doing anything because they already exist in the Akashic records.
Let's do this.
I don't know. I like the idea of time being a flat circle, but at the same point in time, I would like to just try to keep on doing stuff, even if it doesn't exist in the future or the past.
Yeah, I think it's, I've used this term a lot. It's incumbent on us to not care about that stuff. Just like we can't care about outside noise, we can't care about narratives unless we can derive information from them personally and make some sense of them, what it means to us. I think the same thing exists in the human space for the time as a flat circle. F off, buddy. We're going to do what we're going to do.
Do you think it's one of those things where it's just like we're too limited in our own perception, where it's just, like one of those things, just best not to think about it too much?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, it goes back to me for simulation theory or whatever, right? Like whatever kind of cosmology you want to boil into this, into the human experience, is that if you think too much about it, you either are drawn directly to it, probably too much because that's all you think about, or not enough because, right, you're like you're a rapscallion of humanity. You're like, I don't want any of that. But I think there's as always, there's a balance there, like recognizing both sides of that. And with the simulation theory, the reason I brought it up, and I say this all the time, is that, look, I don't care if it's a simulation because I'm a program. And if I'm a program, it means I have at least some level of, bits and bytes, ones and zeros autonomy, even if it's tighter than I ever dreamed it was. Well, why can't we just be the best program we can be? Okay. At least we agree on that, don't we, Theo? Don't make me come over there.
No, I mean, if you're going to be a program, you might as well be the best, programmed Southwestern, what do you call yourself? Like a Southwestern radio audio bot?
Whatever. And you have no idea what goes on in the day.
It might. And I'm a poetry bot, So
okay, perfect. That's our Spider-Man, right? What is our actual Peter Parker? So there are layers of this.
Yeah.
And I promise you, I'm the best Peter Parker out there. But also, I'm trying to be the best Spider-Man too, and as all we should aspire to be, in my opinion. There's no level of excellence that cannot be attained through time and pressure, in my opinion. So let's keep on trucking. Well, what else you got? Go ahead, sir.
No, that's basically it. I don't really have too much else other than just no, I didn't finish my poem, so not worth reciting at this point in time. But I just I don't know. I think it is fascinating, to actually think about what is underneath the sands of Egypt, and whether or not the Akashic or Akashic records actually exist.
Well, you're worried about it.
Yeah, I got no idea what's going on out there, but yeah.
You're worried about it enough to wonder that the archive has got your poem before you even made it. Let's do this. Let's game the archive.
Well, yeah, why couldn't I just go dig under the actual Sphinx and find my future poems, and then I wouldn't have to write them. Wouldn't that be an easier way to do it?
Exactly. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to metagame the aspect of time as a flat circle. You and I together, okay? If you got 20 more minutes for me.
Okay, all right,
you got 20 more minutes for me?
I'm down, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on hold. We're going to take Herschel's call, and when we come back, we're going to manifest a poem that you weren't going to manifest. What do you think?
All right, that sounds great.
Okay, let's do it. Let's game the universe together, because again, sometimes a whimsy can turn things in a particular direction. And so you were about to cast that aside and be like, well, it's not done yet. I'm not happy with it yet, but it was an inspiration. So let's do that.
Oh man, this sounds very meta. All right, I'm down for it though.
The metas of the metas. Okay, hang tight. I'm going to put you on hold. We'll go to Herschel, and we'll come back to you to wrap
Herschel
this up.
too. Okay, all right. I got you.
You got plenty of time. Hang tight. I will stay up as late as necessary. Tomorrow's Friday. Friday. You were the best. And I get an extra 30 minutes to sleep in. I won't explain. Okay, finish that thing. We're going to get back to you, and we're going to usurp collectively, you and I, the Akashic Records, because it knew we were going to do this. Be right back. I'm putting you on mute. more with Theo and his poem coming up. Appreciate you, brother. Stay right there. Thanks for being, thanks for dealing with my nonsense. James, anything on that? We'll go to Theo. Not Theo, but Hirsch.
Oh, just such nonsense, I tell you. I don't know if I can deal with it. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know if I can do this anymore, Mike.
Yeah. Oh, man. Get me out. No, I'm kidding. Just everyone that knows the show knows I'm kidding. But, it's, everything that's under there. I mean, the thing with the whatever is underneath the Sphinx, if it really is a ship, then it makes me wonder, did Stephen King hear about that years ago and take the idea of some kind of ship being buried in the earth and just move it to Maine in his own story, The Tommyknockers? I have no idea, but wouldn't it be hilarious if he had no idea about that? Because I don't even know when that idea was put out there to the public. And it was obviously pre-internet, if it was. And then he made this book that was like in the, I think, 70s or 80s, something like that. So, it's amazing where ideas come from.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. And you want to get on the show? It's as easy as dialing the phone number. Hang tight. We're going to get back to Theo. We are collectively usurping the Akashic Record, or did it know we were here in advance that I would, on a Wednesday, say, Theo, let's finish this poem. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Commercial Herschel. What's up, brother? Welcome to the joint. Thanks for being patient. How are you? And go right ahead, sir.
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I don't have a story or anything, but I think about this like, I think these things, like these intuitions people have, or the instincts they have, or like some of this, like I said before, I think some of this is genetic memory. Like, I think we know things that we don't remember that we know, and they try to bubble their way up. That's why there are so many theories about what's underneath them and the different resonant chambers and all sorts of things. And people write stories that seem to come true. I think there's something to that. I also think that those things were built before the last major cataclysm, and probably before the poles, the poles had shifted. Since then, that's part of the cataclysm, is the shifting poles. And maybe the physics of the earth were just different when the poles shift. And it affects a lot of things. It affects the energy, it affects like the way the earth resonates. It affects the magnetism of the earth. Maybe even human intelligence is different. Maybe the minds of people before the pole shift worked differently in the magnetism of the earth, the way it was, and our planet's location in the sky, the way it lined up with the stars, and everything was different. And that's why those technologies are dormant because they just don't work under current physics. But what if when the poles, and we know the poles are slowly shifting, the magnetosphere is weakening, that's a sign that we're at the end of a cycle. What if when the poles shift back to go the other way, all that old technology kicks back on again? You know, and we find people, whoever's here finds out what's going on with those pyramids and with those columns going down into the earth, like, you know?
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, you know, there are pyramids all over the place. So we should be able to find out pretty easily, since they were able to do these, whether those things exist in other places and whether there's some kind of a connection to all of them. Because there could have been an entire Earth civilization that utilized that technology, whatever it was, in some way, you know, and whether, you know, the other species that's from here that, you know, that broke away and went out into space, you know, they could just be waiting for the poles to shift again so they can use it again.
Yeah, all that well said. And I do wonder too regarding this ancient technology and breakaway civilizations. Like I said, I kind of was on the fence of like, does this turn into a breakaway civilization thing? As the meme is, you know, these obelisks, as you said. Thank you for correcting my. I couldn't get the term, but these obelisks that go beneath the earth. Did they not go to the stars? They went underground. And to me, without sort of advanced propulsion technologies, the best place for a breakaway society would be underground, because, you know, you get hit by a comet or a meteor or something, or multiple meteors, and you're cool, you're chill. You got all the things you need. It's down there. You've done all the things necessary to persist. So, I mean, this is Agartha. This is that idea of the underground space of, well, as you know, I don't have to say it. I know you know exactly what I'm saying here. But the problem is problematic because, of course, the scientific aspect of it is wobbly. So if you got to guess, you think there is something under the Giza Plateau, or you think we're just sort of romanticizing it through history? What's your take on that?
No, I think I don't know what, but there's something down there. They saw it. It's there. They saw it with their satellite technology. It's there. I don't know what, and I don't know about the soul leaving the body and all of that, like trying to control that. You know, it seems like people have always been trying to control that, using one means or another. I've always trying to be in touch with that in some way. I mean, if they've got that if they had that figured out, that would be amazing. If they had that figured out, like how to maintain control of your consciousness between manifestations, you know, because we're a manifestation of, you know, each of us individually are manifestations of consciousness observing itself. So if they understood that, and then they were able to get that under control with some kind of technologies, so that when their body died, they would still maintain their position in the universe within that singular consciousness, and then just manifest into the next body. That would be wild. Like, that would just be wild.
It's complicated.
That's what was going on.
It's complicated.
Or something like that could go on.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be wild.
Now, here's the thing about us, right? So, you know, the materialists would say, "Come on, that's nonsense. It's all local and internal." But you and I and the rest of the fam here, James and everybody else, would be like, "I don't know, right? Maybe, like maybe consciousness is primary and we're born into it. And it is the technology. I don't know. There's a lot here, isn't there?"
Yeah. It's awesome. But I just think I think we know, and we're just out of touch with it. It's like that. It's just out of our grasp. You know, like, I think we know. There's a gap that's missing somewhere. You know, maybe when the poles are shifted back and magnetism is restored to that original way, maybe that's what wakes our pineal glands up. Maybe in this in this magnetic position that our planet is in, our pineal glands don't really function the way they can. And then when the poles shift, they do function properly the way they can. And maybe that's why there's so much happening right now, like in terms of the metaphysical sense of things, because the poles are starting to shift. You know, there's a big wavering in the North Pole, like it travels and it's becoming multipolar. And that's because the thing is starting to happen, you know, and maybe when it shifts around, it just changes everything. And our pineal gland and the pineal gland of the human species wakes up, and we go back to the way the people who built those original pyramids did. Because I've always felt, but like most people nowadays, it wasn't that long ago, 20 years ago, people thought the pyramids were built 10,000 years ago. Like that's what they thought. And if you said, no, they're much older than that, you were in the minority. Now most people think that they're much, much older and the Egyptians inherited them. That's standard thought now. That was not standard thought 20 years ago. It was not. You were like a conspiracy theorist if you thought that. Now most people understand that the Egyptians inherited the pyramid. So that kind of gives you an idea. You know, but I kind of like the thought. I feel like I missed out. You know, I feel like we're going to miss out on having a fully awakened pineal gland if my theory is correct. Like, because with the poles have fish, we will be long gone. This manifestation of us will be long gone. You know, but the next group of humans that rise up after the next cataclysm, they might be tuned in because of the pole shift and because of the difference in the magnetic relationship that we have to everything.
Damn it, Herschel, don't be a doomer. Don't be a doomer. Hey, the golden age of humanity is us right now. And if we don't believe it, if we do not believe it and we do not manifest it, it will not become. You with me?
Okay.
Okay, Mike. Pat you on the head. Go to bed, Mike. Fair enough. I'm just saying. Let's look. I know you're a very special guy. I know you're very smart, very talented, creative, all this stuff. Let's kick this up a notch. Let's do this together. We got how many years left? We don't know. Together, collectively, but let's maximize the pressure on what I just said. Because if we ain't doing
let's listen to Theo's poem now.
I was about to. I'm giving him some time here. Are you finished? Okay. You want to hang around for it?
I want to hang around for it. Okay. I'll mute myself out.
Okay, stay right there. That's Herschel. You know him. You love him. Commercial Herschel is the name. Go check his actual Substack. But you can also find him at troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit. Click the friends link, and it says follow Herschel here. Follow him in all the places. Not only is he a brilliant author, go buy his book. By the way, his latest book is incredible. Short stories. He's working on more. He's written several in the past. Do this. Help our friends. Go follow Herschel. Go check out his Easytopian is the name of his podcast. He just changed the name because the other one wasn't the best, he thought. And let's help each other. That's exactly the point of doing this. And hanging out together and thinking about wild ideas that nobody thinks about. Anything, James, real quick before we go to Theo, and then we'll come back to you guys and wrap this up.
Yeah, I do think it does seem like in recent years there has been it's a slow process. I don't think it's happening all at once, but there has been a slow process of people starting to become more open to possibilities of aliens or ghosts or creatures, cryptids, whatever you want to call them. It is slowly happening, and as long as we can keep that going, keep that interest going, and that and we can keep the stigma from going back to the way it was to where it was so much worse, then I think we'll all be better for it.
I think we'll all be better for it. Absolutely, 100%. Let's do it. Let's go back to Theo. Theo in Philly. Oops.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Welcome back. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you, brother? How's everything going? Did we together usurp the Akashic records? You got something for us tonight?
Oh yeah, I definitely surfed the Akashic records. I got a poem.
Okay, wait.
I would say it's not the best poem from the Akashic records.
Wait, stop! You can't demean it before you tell it. So you got to take on anything we said before you read the poem. Give you a moment.
Oh no! I can demean any poem that I write before I read it. But yeah, go ahead. Ask your question.
My question is, do you have anything on the conversation tonight? If you had a guess, what is beneath the Giza Plateau? You think it's something mundane? You think it's something magical, or somewhere in between? That's the question.
No, I think it's all something magical. If it's something like very magical, I think that's something that like it's very hard to tap into. I don't think that all of us can easily tap into anything. I mean, what exactly would your question be?
How magical is it? That was my question. Magic or nah? Magic or nah?
Oh, yeah. I think part of the magic of the Akashic records is that nothing is actually that magical at all until you just kind of make fun of yourself for it.
I agree, and well said. And that's why, again, you recognize a particular whimsy of this space and how, I'm serious about it, but I'm also not serious about it. There's, you can't take yourself too seriously. Drinking your own Kool-Aid is the bad way. You become a caricature of yourself. Yeah. And I know bad faith actors can do that to you anyway, but right, you stay true to ideas and momentum and people, and none of that really plays if you don't kind of dive into that realm. We don't have to. So forget that.
Yeah, shouldn't there be like a certain amount of whimsy about life,
Absolutely.
Just all be a little bit whimsical.
A 20-year-old Michael Strange would be like, nah, hell no, I know all the answers. Old Michael Strange would be like, yes, absolutely. We should make fun of ourselves. All the things we do.
Mike, I do have one question to ask you, though, before I read this poem.
Sure.
What was the first video game you played?
So it was definitely Atari 2600.
Okay.
I don't think it had to have been Pong, but Pong was the most boring. It had to have been Pong. Yeah.
No, fair enough. I was just, we were talking about this on the Rumble chat earlier, and I don't know. It was cool seeing like all the first video games people played.
Pitfall was badass though. It was the endless Indiana Jones. Pac-Man, we got everybody saying theirs on the chat too. Thank you for all the amazing chat and the ideas and feeling the humanity of the space here. That's the point, by the way. Don't forget that for all the alien logos and all the stuff, this is about being human together. Don't ever forget that. And we'll never let them take it away from us as long as we persevere. But yeah, thanks for the question. That's fantastic. I think it was probably Pong, which was a really boring game.
Nobody will Pong away from you guys. I love that shit. Sorry, love that stuff so much.
Perfect. What you got? Go ahead, sir.
All right, yeah. So, stands beneath a pyramid forgotten, with our infertile land long or lovelessly begotten. My mouth devouring your lame horse, still trotting, accept it or not, because I'll eat your body rotten. So yeah, definitely not the best poem.
Boom. What is that? Stop doing that. You put it out there and you leave it be. Don't comment on your own art. You let the crowd judge and decide. History will decide, and we'll decide with you. And I've decided that you're amazing, and I'm glad to have you here. Okay? Remember, the mantra is...
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Michael Strange.
We do not crap on ourselves is the mantra, because there's so many other people out there crapping on us that if we also crap on ourselves, there's no humanity for us. You're the best, brother. Thank you. Thank you for playing my game. Look,
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
Glad to have you. Before you go, look, we just played Fate. So on a whim, this poem would have never seen the light of day. Except we made it happen. You get it? fate. Is it or isn't it?
Fair. Yeah.
Thank you for playing along. Fire stuff as always. You're the best, as you know. I've got your Substack now, so you're going to be linked on the website. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. Follow Theo here. I'll add it tomorrow.
All right. Don't link me on the website, though.
Really? Are you being serious? Because I won't if you really tell me to. But I have. If I have your Substack, I'm going to link it.
No, I'm actually being serious. Don't do it yet. Just
Okay.
Don't do it.
Okay. All right. I will honor your request. When you're ready, I'm bookmarking that crap and I'm going to put it up there. But yes, for sure. You let me know when you're ready and we'll put it up. Okay.
Yeah. Just don't do it yet. All right. Thank you so much, Michael Strange. Appreciate you so much. Can't overemphasize how much, I appreciate you and everyone else who is involved in just, this entire radio show. It's amazing.
Thank you. As are you, as a part of it. Appreciate you, brother. Have a great night. Thanks for the poem. Thanks for playing my game. And we'll talk to you another night. Have a great one.
All right. Toodles.
Toodles. Theo. So eventually, when he ends up on the website, troubledminds.org/friends, scroll down, it'll say follow Theo here. He didn't give me permission to do it, so I'm not going to do it. That's the whole point, right? So I'm not going to do it without your permission. You got to tell me it's cool to do it. troubledmindsradio@gmail. Say, hey, Mike, I've helped you in this little way, or this big way, or anywhere in between, 1 iota, and I'll put you on the list. It's a big list and you're on it. That's it. It's as simple as that. So don't give me the negative doomer stuff like, why am I not on the list, Mike? Did you tell me you should be on the list? We've had people do that. James, anything to add? And we'll go back to Herschel and let's wrap this up.
Great call and poem from Theo. And looking forward to the rest of Herschel's call.
James is such a pro. Herschel, what you got, brother?
I love that poem.
See?
I loved it. I like the way that he played with the underground and then eating your body rotten. I loved it.
See, Theo? Don't demean your art as it goes out into the world. Let it go, let it be, and then let us help you out because you're more talented than you know. What else you got regarding? Yeah, I agree. He's always on point too. Like that's the thing, right? Look, yeah. One of my things too when I do these shows is I'm like, look, I'm a disaster every night. I'm just a disaster when I show up. I'm just trying to I have 20 ideas and I'm trying to synthesize them down to some coherent narrative. And in my mind, it never works. It's never like I want it to be. But here we are, and there's a lot of people involved in this, and so clearly something's working, right? So there's some faith to the process, even though, like I said, there are some shows that I think are going to be a disaster, and then you guys come bail me out time after time with more interesting ideas than I ever dreamed of. It's don't forget the collaborative effect. Like I said, we don't have to stamp on each other's faces to succeed. We can just be together, and it's important. What else you got, Hirsch? Go ahead.
No, I'm done. I mean, I just wanted to stay for the poem and then make a comment. I just like it. I like flash writing like that. Like, just what happens? What comes out? What's going to come out? How's it going to end? What's the end? You know what I mean? Like, where did it come from and why did it end like that? And how did, it's awesome. That's why I like flash fiction. I like flash poetry. I like it all.
Agreed. 100%. Which is why I said, let's tempt the fates tonight and let's go to the Akashic records and defy them personally and directly together. And we did it.
Take them on.
Let's take them on.
Take them on.
Absolutely. You're the best, brother. Please go follow Herschel. You know him, you love him. Commercial Herschel, search it at troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down, follow Herschel here in all the places. Go buy his book. Again, brilliant author. As you know, he reads his stories from time to time, but also many of those stories, all of those stories are going to be in his books. If you don't help him, you don't get the stories. You're not at the inside track. Please go do that. And where do we find that? troubledminds.org/friends. He's got a link tree. He's got all the stuff there. Please help him. Go buy the books. Go listen to his podcast called Easy Topian. He changed the name, like I said. He's the best, brother. Thanks for staying up late with us, and thanks for being you.
Later.
Have a great night. Incredible stuff. Yeah. James, anything to add before I play the outro music? Or you can How about we wax poetic with James and the outro music? That'll be sweet. You down?
I'll do my best. Just great calls from everyone, and great ideas. I always wonder, and I think there's so many places like this, like Egypt, that we could talk about that maybe we don't even know about yet. And I can't wait to hear about that in the future.
James, the bass barely dropped. You serious? Come on, we're defying the muses tonight. We're literally going for the deepest of the deepest and saying Akashic Records, screw off. We're humans together. What else you got? No pressure.
Well, let's not go too deep, or we'll get to the center of the planet, and I hear it's pretty hot down there. So, but yeah, thank you for letting me sit in with you as always, Mike. And I'm glad I caught this one. I always feel bad when I don't get to make it to these shows, and so I'm glad I was able to make it tonight.
Glad to have you, as always, as you know. That's why we do this. Let's talk to regular people about extraordinary things. Like experiencers, non-experiencers, lifelong interests, whatever, right? Curious minds, troubled minds. That's the whole point of this. That's literally been the entire point of this entire thing, is to talk to regular people about extraordinary things. Fortean thinking for the masses. Am I wrong? Probably. It's fine. We missed the J-Tros. Shout out J-Tro. Absolutely. Go follow James, please. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. Click James. Go buy his books. He's got a new release, and of course he's writing more. Go check out his podcast, his radio show. You can find all that stuff as you would expect on his link tree. So please, 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 like I said, help each other. That's what this is about. If you want to help us directly, spread the word. Let people know a conversation is happening where we're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about the prevailing narrative. And as part of this, as I finish and as we finish tonight, I want you to recognize that I think about every single day. What is the prevailing narrative? And not only that, why is it the prevailing narrative? You get it? It's incredibly important, and that's why I'm as weird as I can be, as wide open and left, right, off the rails and off the cliff, on fire, spinning, for that exact reason. Because the things they want us to believe are probably false. That's the way I see it. So, yeah, you want to tell us fiction? We'll do our own, and that's that. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. This one is from Matt Sal. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.